My parents sent my sister to a camp and used my money for it.
I feel like you should have to go too now, right?
Trigger warning for extreme homophobia and conversion camp. I work as a computer engineer and live away from my parents. I moved out when I was 18, not because we had a particularly distant relationship, but because I was very hungry for independence and I didn't want to go to college like they wanted me to. I fell in love with programming and got a job a month after I graduated, and I've done that since. By the way, this comes from very, very, very upset 222, and you can submit your own stories on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And OP says, I am extremely frugal, and I now make about $70K a year after taxes. Dang.
Nice.
Look at you. Go, Mr. Money Mustache. Both my parents are in traditional white-collar jobs that make significantly more money than I do, and they are horrific with money. When I was growing up, my parents were semi-religious, church on Easter and Christmas type of deal. Okay. So they're just Christmas Catholics.
Yeah.
And not particularly invested in it or politics. Somewhere in the last 3 or 4 years, they became interested in it. And in the last year in particular, regarding the last election especially, they have become some of the most religious and over-focused political people I've ever seen. I have tried distancing myself from this by refusing to talk about these issues over the phone at all. I could not disagree more with them. I think they have some very hateful views, but I've chosen not to engage them on it. Growing up, I was not close to my younger sister, mainly because of our age gap. However, she has grown up and is very pleasant to speak to. We have spoken on the phone daily. I speak to mom and dad much less frequently since she was around 14. I have not been exposed to too much of this because I intentionally tell both sides I don't want to talk about their drama, although I'm generally clear with my sister that I agree with her, but I don't want to badmouth her parents. My sister is a sapphic, which I have no issue with whatsoever, and my parents do not or did not know and would immediately be against. Ooh, now I'm wondering what type of camp they're sending her to.
Yeah, that's the first kind of camp that came to mind.
That was the first time that came to my mind.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, well, they're using OP's money for it.
It's just gonna be a regular, summer camp, right?
Yeah, I feel like you should sue them if they stole your money to pay for that kind of camp.
Honestly.
We talked about this quite often. My sister also has political views completely at odds with my parents. She was in trouble for not supporting their favorite political candidate, you can probably guess who, but I encouraged her to swallow it and suck it up at home for her safety and sanity. She mentioned a few times in the last 2 months about wanting to come out to them, and I highly, highly discouraged it. I have heard both of my parents approve of a pastor who disowned his attracted to the same gender son and similar stories. I didn't want them to do that to her. I've offered to let her live with me when she turns 18, but imagine that being in the future. I made her promise not to do that, and she did. On her 16th birthday, she came out to them. I was a little angry with her over the phone. I didn't curse or scream or anything, but I was annoyed, but with sympathy for her position. I did chide her a bit, which I acknowledge was dumb. She was extremely mad at me and didn't call me for 4 days, which was a long time for us to not speak. We spoke afterwards, and I was much better, but things weren't going well. They didn't punt her out, but weren't speaking to her at all. Literally, she was screaming at them, and they just quietly went to the rooms, not saying a word, which is crazy for people who have kind of most of OP's life not been religious.
Yeah.
Like, these people are going to mass on Christmas and Easter.
Literally.
And that's it.
And then it's just, because it's even though they seem to be diving more into those same kind of conservative views, that's still, it's you still can't use your religious background for a reason for that. It's
no, absolutely. That's my point. It's one, shouldn't do that even if you are religious. Two, they just got religious.
Yeah.
So it's even more confusing.
Exactly.
They don't even have a leg to stand on here.
Right.
I offered to speak to them for her, and she begged me not to, so I did not, against my better judgment. My dad, a week later, called me over the phone. He said that he was sick and needed emergency money to have a procedure. Why do I think that's a lie? Why do I know what they're doing? He begged me not to tell mom or my sister he needed about 20 grand. I had refused the money in the past for a car loan and made it clear that I wasn't giving the money, but I did for this. Cautious, but ultimately trusting him not to lie about his own potential passing. I disagreed with him about a lot of things, but he had always been so steadfast about the importance of honesty. The thought of him lying about something like that seemed ridiculous, and I felt guilty for even thinking that. About another week after that, my sister stopped calling me. Oh no. I thought she was mad again for some reason, but she didn't answer at all. Oh no.
I'm so scared.
I was worried. I called my parents and asked about her after about a week, and they said she was being moody. They're lying. I thought they thought I didn't know about her identity or what was going on. I checked my Facebook that night, and I read a days-old message from one of her friends that explained that she had been trying to reach me and that my sister was taken from her house into a van and driven off by men in a program with her and my parents there before punting the friend out of the house. Oh my goodness.
My God.
Genuinely, these parents should be arrested. I think any parent that sends their child to conversion camp should be arrested.
Yeah.
I think that's child.
Absolutely.
Like, this is like,
no, literally is.
No, yeah. It's
that,
just.
Oh my God. And also, that's just so terrifying for her, too, to be taken away in a van by just random men when she's 16 years old.
Well, there's other camps too. They're just like outdoor camps.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. They're not specifically conversion camps, but it's like if your kid is acting up, these certain parents will send their kids to these outdoor school things, which is the same thing where you get carted off in the middle of the night and then you're not allowed to reach out to people and it's like terrible.
No,
like,
that absolutely is terrible. I think like that would only be reasonable if like, I don't know, the kid was like a danger to others or something.
But
like
even
that.
then, these camps are not helping them. It's like the whole,
not
the
at
whole thing of like holes, you know?
Right,
like,
right.
If you've seen that, like it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, the only thing I'm mostly focusing on like that method of taking them away. I mean, that's just so
so
dangerous,
traumatizing for a child that like, well, in this situation has done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Her friend visited my parents' house several times, and they eventually told her they sent her to a religious program. She didn't get the name. I called up my father, and he denied it twice before admitting it after a long talk. I was so angry. They seriously have these religious camps that parents can send teens to anytime without committing a crime forever. I mean, he did commit a crime. He stole your money.
Yeah.
I didn't think it had anything to do with the money, but I looked it up after that and found out that these programs are generally very expensive. I called him up again, and he admitted that's where the money went. I demanded that he let her out, and he told me it was his money. That's so funny. That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
I told him I'd never speak to him again, and he just ignored me. I tried calling him every few hours for the last several days when I found out, and they ignore almost all of my calls. He intentionally didn't tell me the name of the facility or camp, but I've done reading, and these are almost always dangerous places. I don't even know if she's in the US anymore. People pass away and get brainwashed at these places. I feel so guilty for giving them the ability to do this. I don't know the name of the camp, and I did technically give them the money. My only recourse at this point is to go tell everyone in their neighborhood what they did. I saw a Facebook post they made about sending my sister to a snooty Christian boarding school, and that's not what they did. I called the school they posted, and she isn't going there. They're very connected to the church suburban town community, and I think it would threaten them to have their image splattered with the truth. I would completely disown them now if it wasn't completely destroying my chances of getting her out. I'm at a loss. Please help me. And there are some relevant comments.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, right away, I think you could legally get at them.
Yeah.
Because they lied to you about the money.
Yeah.
That was under false pretenses. You thought that you were giving it to your father for a medical procedure.
Right.
It was not being used in that way.
Right.
It's tricky because he doesn't probably have any written statements saying that. Unfortunately, it's very hard to get a child out of this situation when the parents agree to it.
Right.
So, like, legally, it would be really hard for you to get her out of it.
Do we know how far away OP is from the parents?
No.
I'm just, like, thinking, like, if they're not answering calls or texts or anything like that, like, I'm thinking I'm gonna go to them.
Yeah. I would definitely start there.
I mean, go to them to try to talk to them at all. Record the conversation to see, like, because he'll probably admit that that was your money that he used for that and that he doesn't have a medical reason.
Like, record it, be like, yeah, you said that you were using that to, like, save your life.
Yeah. Or, like, remind me why, you know, I gave you the money.
Remind me why. Yeah. Relevant comments. M. Churm says, this is very, very difficult. Under the law in most of the US, most of the world, parents have a right to decide how to raise their minor children. There are some facilities for brainwashing people out of being attracted to the same gender, which are so horrific that I have little better terms to describe them other than torture. In fact, a couple of US states have actually passed laws against these places, but that doesn't help much because parents have a right to send their children to someplace else that doesn't have such a restriction. There is very little you can do about it legally. On the other hand, there is a major legal issue where you do have leverage. From your description, it sounds like there is plausible argument that your father committed fraud to scam you out of $20,000. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way that OP can actually, do something here.
Something.
If you pursued this, there is a decent chance that you could get law enforcement involved, and it is not impossible that your father could be convicted of a felony for such a fraud. You certainly could sue to get the money back and could probably get a judgment to garnish his wages, seize his bank accounts, and so forth until you've been repaid. The most obvious thing to do would be, Dad, pull my sister out of that program and either let her live with you or else send her to live with me. If you don't, then I'll press charges and get you thrown in prison for fraud. Don't do that because that would be blackmail. At least I think it would, depending on the exact wording. With a very careful approach, it may be possible, depending on the exact details of the law on blackmail in your state, which I do not know well enough to advise you on, to get that same message across without actually committing blackmail. If I were to do such a thing, I would probably find a lawyer who could help me figure out how to use this without committing a felony of your own, because if I understand you correctly, you are not happy about the $20,000, but your real concern is for your sister. My heart goes out to you and her, and I wish you the best of fortune and a successful outcome. I mean, I don't think OP would have given the money if he couldn't afford it.
Sure.
So, obviously this was an extreme case, but obviously it's not about the money.
Yeah, he did mention towards the beginning that he was genuinely responsible with money.
Yeah.
Or generally.
He's a good saver. Yeah, so it's clearly it's not about the money, it's about his sister, and if this is the only way that he can get his sister back, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's worth mentioning that I do have 2 texts of him mentioning the need for money for the emergency and a short voicemail of him thanking me for the money.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, it's difficult because the emergency could be interpreted in different ways.
I guess so.
But yeah, definitely talk to a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that would constitute proof or not, but I assume so. I would assume that he wouldn't be able to get a refund for the money anyway, and therefore unable to have the financial stuff to get her out quicker without going the quasi-blackmail route, so I don't know. Thank you very much. Mastermind says I have a very strong feeling that you should just look for a lawyer because nothing that we recommend should be taken into consideration due to the serious nature of the situation. Find a lawyer to discuss if there is any way to gain custody of your sister, then talk to a GSA of some sort and find out what type of trauma she might end up dealing with and what to do if you get her, because who knows what they could be doing to her. And there is an update, but yeah, let's get into it because I just need her to get out of there.
I desperately do.
2 days later, I got an incredible amount of varying advice and support that I really appreciate. I explained the situation to my boss, who was very supportive, and gave me some time off without an issue to deal with this. Last night, I left home and drove to them. They live in another part of Florida, but we all live there, and tried having a rational conversation with them before I took it. I pointed out the things I was learning was regularly at these communities. I told them all the stuff I've learned about these places. I demonstrated that it wouldn't even change her identity or opinion, and they just called me a liar or ignored me. I have never seen my parents in a lower regard. I didn't even bring up the money because I had a feeling that if I mentioned it, he would punt me out. Both of them seemed incredibly nonchalant about the entire thing. Then I made an appointment with a lawyer, and then later, another. Both of them were LGBT friendly and had at least some experience with similar situations.
Oh, wow.
And both spent about an hour explaining to me how I am completely legally screwed due to the nature of the gift.
Oh, no.
And how it won't be interpreted as condition. And that I have absolutely zero legal grounds in getting my sister out, and that without even the name of the place, I can literally do nothing. I'm completely screwed.
No.
Well, that's not great.
This is heartbreaking.
This is terrible.
Oh my God.
I do want to say, just props to OP for finding out
4
4 days after it happened and doing literally everything in his power to get his sister out of there.
Right. I feel like if legally you can't do anything
don't stop fighting.
For sure. I feel like what you could possibly do now is try to get research and get, articles talking about it, videos talking about it, anything that you can get that talks about any sort of conversion therapy and present that to them and be like, regardless of if, you know, she's or not, this is what's happening to her.
Yeah.
Like, she is hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because
and
it
like,
is like torture.
Maybe talk to other pastors and stuff, like people who would be on your side.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of like religious people who are very against this.
Right.
So like if you can get people who can kind of speak their language.
Right. Dude, find Bible verses.
Yeah.
Dude.
Be like,
yeah.
This says, this is all saying that's bad.
Exactly.
One drilled into me that I should not post about this to their friends, or it may make any legal action that could be possible later impossible. But both basically told me there wasn't a thing to be done. I was at my wit's end and I had a last-ditch plan. I drove back to my father's home and told him I would give him my remaining savings, around $65K, but I lied and said $55K so I'd have something, if he took her out of the camp and let her live with me. I was amazed that he would even consider it because I'd always considered him such a high moral figure, but he stepped in the room with my mother for 5 minutes and said yes, but only if I do not involve the police. I told him he would need to sign a contract and wait a few days, and he told me he may not have an issue with that, needs to think, but did not want her legally in my name, but she can live with me because he doesn't want to be on the bill for child support. I wanted to spit in his face, but I refrained. This just happened less than an hour ago. I made another appointment with another attorney tomorrow, but I don't think that this is possible, and I may not show up to his office. If I give him the money without any obligation to return it, he would just take it and do nothing. My idea at the moment is to agree to give the money without a contract as soon as she's out, and back at the house I see her, and then take her and move to another state with her until she graduates. I can keep working in my current job from online until I get a new one. My father basically gave the impression that he had completely disowned her anyway, and I don't think he would spend the money a second time to get her in another place, but obviously, I'm just guessing. Obviously, I cannot have a legal contract written where I buy custody of a minor. Can I have one where they promise not to send her to another institution like that? Like, she must go to and graduate from X high school or something, or you must return the money. Is there anything I can do to make this work in a way where she's out and with me, whether in my name with custody or not, and they don't have legal grounds to come and track us down and send her somewhere else? This sounds insane, but I'm insane. I'm so worried. I'm vomiting randomly from guilt and stress. I can't sleep, so I'm going to down a few sleeping pills so I can go to bed. Thank you very much. You've helped me immensely. It's disgusting how much the legal system can screw over innocent teens. I've never felt more angry during a 4th of July in my life. I don't know how we can profess freedom when stuff like this still happens and is legally justifiable. I mean, yeah, definitely keep going back to your lawyers. Tell them you got this new plan.
Yeah, see what you can do.
Yeah, but wow.
Right.
This is such a terrible
like,
situation.
Maybe something you can do somehow is be like, okay, yeah, like I said $55K, but like because of this and this and this, like we need to make these adjustments to our agreement, or else I'll give you half. I'll actually only give you, 20 more K. Well, I don't know, but that would still be, they still might just take that.
Yeah. Edit, we met and he detailed to me how I can easily go to jail with my plan and just how dumb it is. I'm not giving them any money, but he made it clear that I have no legal recourse to get her. This lawyer is useless. There is nothing I can do legally that will go anywhere. He advised me to try and settle this from a civil perspective. They won't listen to reason. I've never hated anyone more than them. I feel like I fell in a black hole. I don't see any way out. Oh my goodness, there's an update 25 days later.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting close to the end of the story, and I really hope that he gets her out of there.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
Because here's the thing, okay?
Yeah.
If you can't technically do anything legal against the dad for that 20K that OP gave to him, then it's like, I feel like you could still do something here. Like, sure, I mean, a lawyer probably wouldn't, like, advise doing
you
it.
To do it, but I'm like, if this is the only way, I would absolutely give my parents, the money. I'd just not tell the lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. I would just be part of our conversation. That'd be part of my civil, way to deal with it.
Yeah. There's an update 25 days later. This will be a short update, but the situation with my sister has ended on a positive note.
Oh, thank goodness.
It has been, quote unquote, resolved. I think the mods will remove this, but anyone who wants to know what happened will be able to see. Currently, I am in the hospital. I initially thought I had a bad flu from stress following the incident, but I wasn't getting better. Yesterday, I went to the doctor. She ordered me to the hospital for a spinal tap. I actually contracted bacterial meningitis.
Whoa.
So I'm not doing so well in that regard. I'm bored and feel like garbage, but I have free time, and I've been meaning to write because this was just resolved. If this isn't entirely coherent, I apologize. My brain is obviously a bit fried right now. This is going to be horribly shortened. I did not give my father any money, and we both basically ended up pretending that I never offered the money and that he never theoretically accepted it. I found out the camp she was staying in. My mother frequently needs computer help, and it was one of the terribly described religious therapy camps several states away. I found several horror stories online from people who have attended this camp, and I showed it to mom and dad and found a sympathetic religious figure from the community they both respected. I convinced them after much struggling to go pick her up with me. We did, and ended up flying there and picking her up with a lot of trouble. They didn't want to let me in at all and took an extremely long time letting her see us, which made my parents very, very mad. It's very hard to get people out of those camps.
Yeah, good that you're mad, of course.
They also don't let the kids send letters to their parents. Or if they do, they're very highly monitored, and it says, I'm happy here, I'm having a great time.
That's insane.
And so all the parents think, oh, my kid's fine.
Like, great.
When it's not at all true.
Oh my god.
Like in a lot of these outdoor schools, not specifically conversion camps, but just like these camps, they'll take pictures and tell the kids that they have to smile or they get like in trouble.
Oh my gosh.
And so you're only like, all these parents are only seeing the best, like,
right,
like
it's
good
just
stuff.
total isolation. And
My parents were very upset about the small parts of the facility we were allowed to see. They told us our sister would lie and that they should go without seeing her, which made them madder. I thought we were going to have to call the police, but we eventually got her out after many hours spent there. I was nervous she would yell at them, but she knew to pretend she had changed without me needing to tell her. Good. She's back home as of several days. I'm in the hospital as of yesterday. By the way, you can be with us and listen to full episodes of stories like this. Hopefully not quite like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story.
but things are turning out well.
Truly,
Well enough.
I mean, she's out of there, but like genuinely, I would never talk to these parents ever again.
Never.
I wish that these people could get arrested.
Right. If I was OP,
Wow.
I would be like visiting as much as I can for the sister, of course.
Do we know exactly how old she is?
Well, she was 16 when she came out.
Okay.
And
so
I don't think this
around-
happened much
Yeah, so
soon,
she's probably
like,
around 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So young.
Wow. My parents are basically pretending they were tricked into the place being a 4-star resort and are laughing the whole thing off.
Oh my God.
Like they are equal victims in this, and this was all a wacky adventure where they stole my money and sent my sister to harmful conversion prison. Me and my sister have discussed it privately, and we've agreed that she will not make any waves until 18 and that she can live with me during college. Sadly, we still have 2 years until then. I despise my parents and cannot say a thing to them, which is infuriating. I hate their hypocrisy and BS, but we both have to swallow it for the moment. I am finished with them completely and plan to never speak to them again after she's 18. But that is the end of that story. My boyfriend demanded a paternity test, but I never cheated.
How could it be anyone else?
My boyfriend asked for a paternity test for our child. As soon as the results come and show he is the father, I'm leaving him. I'm a new mom to a baby boy who is my pride and joy, and though it's been a roller coaster adjusting to taking care of a baby, the past few months have been great. Tiring, but great. By the way, this comes from I'm Shattered, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I have a boyfriend of 3 years who is the first person relationship-wise I have ever loved, and I thought we were doing great as new parents, but also as partners. Friday, he came home and he asked me for a paternity test. Just like that. It was completely out of the blue. I was putting away the dishes and he asked for one, like he was asking what's for dinner. I'm a different race from him, but our child, apart from the skin tone, is literally his mirror image from pictures I've seen of him when he was a baby. I was stunned when he asked, and his reasons were that he had to be sure he was the father. He had to have that certainty. All I remember as he was speaking is just immediately feeling pain. The man I love doesn't trust me. He would actually believe that I would F someone else, cheat on him, and then try to pass off another man's baby as his. I have never even given him reason to think that I would cheat on him. I have tried to be transparent and communicate, and it wasn't enough. He told me he would give me time to think about this, that he wouldn't go behind my back and do this test, but for our relationship to move forward, he needs to be 100% sure.
Jeez, man, for you to have a relationship moving forward, like in total?
You're going to be 100% sure, but your relationship's not going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He repeated this because he, in his words, needed me to realize how serious he was. After thinking for a couple of days, I'm going to allow him this paternity test because I have nothing to hide. I've never cheated and would have never cheated on him. Once it's proven that he's the father, I'm ending it, leaving the same day, and I'm going to try my best to co-parent with him. In the meantime, I'm coming up with my exit plan, a place to live, and a lawyer to work out a custody arrangement and court. I can't even tell my family or my friends right now because they would go nuclear, and my first priority is our child. I hope the test was worth it to him. I'm not asking for advice or reassurance or to explain his side. I'm just realizing this part of my life is now over. What a way to start the new year.
Wow.
I'm not asking for advice or reassurance or to explain his side. I'm just realizing this part of my life is now over. What a way to start the new year. And there is an update 3 weeks later. But what do you do?
I leave.
I'm
just
leaving.
like how she's doing.
I'm giving him the paternity test and I'm going.
Yeah, if you can't trust me like this, how are we supposed to
Yeah.
a kid right now?
How are we supposed to parent together?
Yeah,
If you-
also-
just without any proof.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, I want a paternity test."
Right, and then it's like, okay, well, now I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, now I want a test for you.
Yeah, and also I didn't like the line of like, just to see how serious I
Yeah,
was. It's
what?
like, we shouldn't be doing things that are like, I
need
need
to
you to
prove.
know
Yeah.
that this is serious and that this is not okay, so I'm going to take this paternity test before our relationship could go forward. It feels like an ultimatum or like some sort of threat, you
It
know?
absolutely is.
And I don't like it.
First update 3 weeks later. We did the paternity test my boyfriend wanted. My post was removed, so I'm going to post it here.
Wow.
It's been a couple of weeks since I posted, and I have just been navigating things after. I'm going to call my boyfriend Mason to keep things clear. This is gonna be long, I'm sorry. To clarify a few things, we're different races, but to my knowledge, his family, plus extended, is more than okay with it. His mother actually set us up. More than okay with the relationship.
Oh,
not the
okay,
paternity
okay.
test. I was like, what?
Okay.
I went to a dinner party and he and I were the only single people who had been invited and we hit it off. She admitted to trying to set us up for months. We have had no issues with cheating or any situations where things could be sketchy during the years we have been together. We also haven't broken up or taken any breaks. Our son is his mirror image. My boyfriend confided to his cousin about the paternity test a couple of days after he asked me, and the cousin told his wife, and it spread like wildfire, especially in their family group chats. His mom put an end to the speculation, though, by doing a half and half pic of him and our son, but also by adding some additional individual pics of both of them. She posted the pictures in the family group chat and said, "Look at the old pics I found of Mason." I mean, good on the mom for being like, "Shut up, kid.
Yeah.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
After people commented, she said, "Actually, the one on the right is my grandchild," or "This one isn't Mason." Literally, the family members just thought it was the same person in all of the pics and that some of the photos were taken in darker lighting. That is how much our son looks like him,
Dang.
which I find funny, but also a little annoying. Like, I carried you for 9 months and all you can be is a copy of your dad.
Dude, for real.
I didn't see the group chat, but the topic passed away when his mom did that. Anyway, we talked. When I had made the first post, I was so angry and planned to leave, but the anger was quickly replaced by hurt once I calmed down. I realized if I blindsided him like that, I would be doing the exact same thing that he did to me when he asked for a paternity test. No, you wouldn't. I think she's saying like, oh, if I told him that I don't want to be together, it would be the same as him.
Yeah, like I didn't have a conversation about it first or
You
something.
should have a conversation, but it would not be the same thing.
Yeah, I agree because you're doing it based off of something that you saw him do, and
Yeah.
he's doing it off of nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I planned to ask him to talk, but I also didn't want him to think I was trying to get out of the test. So beforehand, I booked an appointment at 2 different paternity test locations. I asked him to talk when he came home, and I made sure our child was at my mom's. I told him that whatever happened with this talk, the paternity tests have been booked and would go forward. I basically asked him his reasoning and when he started having doubts about paternity. Was it a previous relationship? Did cheating happen? He said it was about a week before he asked me that he started having doubts. And this is after the kid has been born.
Yeah.
So this is after he has proof that this kid looks exactly like him.
Right,
That he's
it's-
having doubts.
It's not even like, oh, you got pregnant, but like we haven't had spicy sleep or something
No.
like that. Like it's like,
He actually has more proof that the kid is his.
yeah, yeah.
He said that he was on his lunch break one day just reading articles and he clicked on an old article about a man who found out his 3 kids weren't his after like 20 years. This led him into a rabbit hole of podcasters and YouTube videos that encouraged men to ask for paternity tests. So
And
he went down the little red pill rabbit hole.
And imagine Imagine if one of those videos were ours.
Can you imagine?
No. Oh, I hope not.
We're
wouldn't
part
be
of the red pill
surprised.
rabbit hole.
No, because whenever people get paternity tests, we're like, only do that if you have, don't just
Yeah,
baselessly
we
do
discourage
that.
it.
So, while he thought those podcasters were he said that paternity was an exception. He's like, they're stupid, but they have a point.
Yeah.
He said his reasoning was that some women have done this before and he wanted to be sure. He said, you know it's yours because the baby comes out of you. But how do I know?
Oh
'Cause it
my
looks like
gosh.
you.
Because
Stupid.
literally because of photo evidence.
The test gives me that assurance. I was hurt by that, but I decided to explain how I felt. I said that for him, it was a rational request, while for me, it was basically him saying that he didn't trust me. It was him saying that he believed I would cheat on him, get pregnant, have him emotionally, financially, and physically support me during the pregnancy and birth, and basically lie to him while he raised another man's child. I told him that I understand that women had done this before, but the fact that he thought I would do this to him is what bothered me. I told him the truth, that when I was angry, I had planned to leave, and that I even went looking into a lawyer and a co-parenting plan and a new place to live.
B Hope Art says, I know someone that got a paternity test because of your show.
But that's not red pill. That's providing people with information.
What I'm thinking with this story,
Something
though,
unreasonable.
too, is that we also have read a lot of stories where the dad wants a paternity test, even though the wife didn't cheat, and it's because he was cheating all along. So she should throw that back at him.
He was stunned that I would leave for something so small. Crazy. Crazy. You just accused your wife of cheating on you.
Yeah.
You just accused your wife of cheating on you.
Yeah, that's enough for me, honestly.
I found that to be a weird kind of irony, that he believed issuing an ultimatum about a paternity test and basically accusing your partner of cheating was something small. I told him I was really hurt by what he said, that I was still hurt, but that if he needs this peace of mind, that we would do it. He asked, what about a relationship? And I told him, I didn't know. We did the test 2 days later, got the results back after 3 days. He opened both of them, and to the surprise of no one, he's the dad. Shock. He was visibly relieved when he read the tests, and I don't know why that hurt me more. Yeah, because a part of him thought that you cheated on him.
Yeah.
A part of him watched all of these YouTube videos and believed that you cheated on him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even just that he was like scared that you were cheating on him, because like, you know, it's valid. It's like I would lose a lot of trust if someone accused me of cheating and I never did, you know. But at the same time, if you genuinely are scared of that, I don't want to be like, oh, you can never ask because then I leave you. Even like, because then what if I did cheat? You know what I mean? And then you just never ask because I made that threat. Not saying that that's what happened. I'm not cheating. But like, okay, I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole.
I wasn't sure where that was going.
No, but I don't want it to be like, oh, if you ever ask that I'm cheating, if you're ever even scared about that, whether there's evidence or not, I don't want to be like, I'm ending the relationship. Because what if someone says that to me and I do think that they're cheating? And now I can't talk about it because it's going to end.
The thing is that I think that if you accuse someone of cheating,
Yeah.
and regardless of whether or not you have proof,
Yeah.
there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
And you might be right. It's the same thing of like looking through someone's phone.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You might be right. You might stumble across the right answer, even
Yeah.
if you don't have proof, and figure out that they are cheating. But if you're wrong, you have broken the relationship.
Right.
You've broken a fundamental part of the relationship.
Right.
It's been about 2 weeks since the results, and I'm still really hurt. God, I sound so pathetic. I feel pathetic. I thought the results would maybe relieve some of that, but it didn't. It's like a switch clicked when he asked for the test, and I can't find a way to click it off. I'm pretty sure postpartum is playing a part in this because all I do is cry, and I wasn't like this before. I have also moved into the spare room, something he was against, but I felt bad because apart from when our son is awake, I'm sad all the time. I'm looking for a therapist. I don't know how people find the therapist they like so quickly, by the way. And he wants to do couples therapy, and he's looking for one. He already has a few appointments booked just to try them out. He wants to move on. Of course he does. Marriage, more kids in the future, and go back to where we are, and thinks that our relationship is now stronger. In what way is it stronger? Is he going to do this every time you have a kid?
Yeah, right?
Well, I'm just thinking our relationship right now is weaker than a person on stilts. I don't know if I would say we're together. The physical affection is gone. I'm not in the right mindset, and I don't want him to touch me. We rarely talk about anything but the baby. It's awkward. And I'm trying to find a way back to where we were, and I can't see how. I'm going to try to fix this and try therapy, individual and couples, but I just have this feeling that this is basically a sinking ship. I hope I'm wrong. I want very much to be wrong. Edit. I know some people are worried, but I have a contingency plan in place. I have a lawyer. I've gotten a child care custody plan worked up during these 2 weeks. I've told my family, who are mostly close by. I have a rental property I own and can go to. Our finances are separate, so I'm good there. I know myself, and I know I'm not in the right headspace right now. I'm staying in the spare room. There's no affection. Therapy, individual or couples, will hopefully help me and will hopefully reaffirm that I had the right idea in the beginning. It's not as easy to move when there's a child, so I'm making sure that I'm mentally well, our child is good, and then I'll make a decision. Thank you, though, for all your kindness and perspectives. And folks, there is a second update if you didn't already see it to finish this story off. I don't think this relationship is salvageable.
Yeah.
Because he's so cavalier about it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got the test. Now we're good.
Right. Like, he's not.
What are you upset about?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like if she wanted to work on things,
Yeah.
I could see them working through this. And I could
Yeah.
see them maybe talking about it and it being like, hey, talk to me more. You got to, like, trust me more with this stuff. Like, why don't you trust me? Are there anything else? Is there anything else I've done? You know, that could happen, but it definitely would be unfair because he didn't offer her that.
I also think every step of the way, he has operated on a, like, first thing that comes to my mind, I do.
Yeah.
Like, this is so impulsive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Because, and then that's so stressful of being accused of that, especially right after you had a kid.
Right
and
after.
then that's just so stressful and unpredictable for yourself.
Yeah, I think he literally went, give me a paternity test. And she said, what? Why? And he
Yeah.
said, I saw a YouTube video. And then she said, okay, fine. Gets a paternity test. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay, got the proof. We're good now.
Yeah.
No. It's not
No.
like, I'm so sorry for not trusting you.
Right.
I had all these horrible doubts and like, let's go to therapy. Let's work on this.
Right.
You know, like I want to earn back your trust. None of that happened.
Yeah.
Things have gone downhill and under advisement. I can't really discuss it until things have been settled in court. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, like having a kid makes it difficult.
For sure.
I guess I'm really a cautionary tale on what can go wrong. Please, if you have concerns with your partner, discuss things beforehand, especially before you have a child. Thank you again for your different perspectives, hoping to have everything settled eventually. And folks, that's the end of that story.
My friend who once rejected me now likes me because I have money.
Gotta get those bills, yo. No shame in it. Actually, plenty of shame in it.
3 years ago in university, I, male 25, told one of my best friends, female 25, that I was in love with her. After pouring my heart out, she told me that she likes tall guys. Being told that I wasn't tall enough hurt quite a lot, but she wasn't trying to be mean, just frank. By the way, this comes from
Say it.
JSIDNDIJWISNSJD.
I think it's a keyboard smash.
Keyboard smash. Absolutely keyboard
Yeah.
smash.
And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, 18 months ago, I started a company that expanded very quickly, and I now have over 30 employees. Obviously, being the owner of a company this size, I now have a lot more money. Anyway, over the years, we've stayed good friends. On Wednesday, 3 days ago, she told me that she has feelings for me and wants to be together. She kissed me. We have a lot of history, and I do still love her. I told her that I would have to think about it. I know that it's easy to assume that she just wants to use me, but is it possible that she now has real feelings for me? Can power make a man more attractive? Am I still the same person as before? I haven't changed at all. Part of me suspects that she wants my money, but at the same time, I love her so much and we've been close friends for a long time. It's just the worst timing ever because the money makes me question her motives. And there are some comments, but do you think she's being genuine here or do you think that it's because of the moolah?
I think there is a chance, like, people can develop feelings over time.
Sure.
I don't think so. I think it's the
But
money.
in this case,
especially because she's like, I like tall guys, and all of a sudden,
But also, she was
Yeah.
she was 22,
yeah,
and it's been 3 years. I
It's
think
true.
OP says I haven't changed, but she could have changed.
true.
maybe.
Maybe.
There are some comments. Young Jolie says, go out with her and split everything 50-50. See what happens. OP says, I would feel so weird doing that. I've always paid, at least at the first date, so it would be especially weird now that I have plenty of money. Plus, she's been having money problems. Deleted says there could be a huge change in someone from 22 to 25. I can't tell if she's a gold digger or not. Did you ask her what's changed? Why is she interested now? Has she ever appeared shallow? What do you like about her? Opie says, no, I didn't ask her if anything has changed. From my end, everything is exactly the same. She dated a very rich guy a while back, and she likes nice things, but not too different from anyone else. What do I like about her? Where do I start? She's beautiful and smart. We can talk about anything. She makes life bearable. We have the same sense of humor. Everything, really.
I think she just likes you.
S. Carol Soup says, from what you've said in your comments, example, she hasn't had a good job since she graduated. You always pay when you guys hang out. I wouldn't be surprised if your money is what she's most attracted to. I don't mean I think she's sitting in a darkened room plotting to take your money and laughing maniacally to herself. But it seems to me like she's now in a stage in her life where she realizes that she doesn't have the means to support the lifestyle that she wants herself. You already pay for your outings, so you're the perfect candidate. The Working Deed 112 says, I would have major difficulty trusting the relationship, and the most important question I would ask is, will she have a good income herself? If she will be financially successful without you, then maybe she now sees you in a different light, and yeah, I could trust her. If she is or was a theater major working at Chili's expecting to rely on you for financial support, then I would move on. Out of curiosity, what type of business is it? OP said she majored in psychology but doesn't want to go back to school to study and hasn't really had a decent job since she graduated. She wanted to be a psychologist, but I don't think she has any idea now. That's one of the major reasons I question her. It's a software company. What other type of business actually turns a profit these days? OP is replying to a deleted comment. She lost her job 3 months ago, so I helped her with money for 2 months after that. But she got another job a month or so ago. Sincerely, XX says that you wrote that you have lent her $3,500 these past few months.
That's
That's a big detail that we need to know. Wow.
That's not like lending her a couple hundred that she's short. That's
not like
a
paying
lot of
for
money.
in and out when you guys go out.
No,
That's wow. Yeah, the commenter keeps going. That's a crazy amount to borrow from a friend. I'm a hopeless romantic and want to see the best, but the fact that you have been just friends for years, she told you she wasn't interested in you before, and now that you have lent her $3.5K, she wants you. I think it's clear what her motives are. OP says it was $2,000 last year and $150 2 months ago and $3,500 all up.
1,500 2 months ago.
my God.
1,500. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Dang.
Yikes, dude.
Dang.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
But she hasn't paid any of it back yet. The 2K I told her not to worry about. Why? She has just sort of gotten back on her feet after struggling the previous 2 months. There is an update for 14 days later. OP.
Who are you that you can say, hey, don't pay me back $2,000?
Yeah.
I think there are two kind of scenarios. One, she's a gold digger and she's seeing him spend all this money and she's like, oh, I can be with someone who has all this money.
Yeah.
The second one is she's seeing someone take care of her and spend all this money on her and is like, wow, this person's really nice. I have feelings for them because they've been so nice and loving and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's to say which one?
Honestly, yeah, because I was thinking like, yeah, maybe I feel like if it was a gold digger kind of thing, it would be more immediate, but I actually don't really know because then like, you know, if he's been taking care of her like this for so long, maybe after a while she's just like, she's kind of falling for him because of the money, which could be genuine. It could get to genuine emotions.
Like if they're spending a lot of time together, there could be that development of feelings. Like if they're spending more time together now than they did when they were first like kind of friends and he like confessed his feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, possibly there could be like that development. It's just the money complicates it all. Like if she was paying him back actively,
right.
Okay, fine. There's like she's probably not in it for the money at that point because she's like not relying upon that financial contribution.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's like even if there are like genuine feelings involved, we could probably have a good conversation about finances just to start out, because that's already just an important thing in a relationship anyway that you want to like be on the same page on. So it's at least have a conversation about this.
I would think as a strategy, try being less extreme.
Yeah.
Like go on cheaper dates for a bit. Like
do more gestures rather than paying.
Do
for
like
stuff.
Free activities, like go to the park, go to like Shakespeare in the park, go
Yeah.
to like take a walk or something, go on a bike ride, go on a hike.
Right.
And if she's like after maybe a month or so, she's still as attracted without the outpouring of the money and without the extravagance.
Yeah.
Maybe at that point you're okay to kind of continue it.
Yeah.
Because after maybe a month or two of that, she would get bored and move on. Theoretically.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Right? Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Since she told me that she didn't want me many years ago, it's not like I've been lusting after her, but the feelings were still there. I know that everyone told me that it was a bad idea, but I had to try. I took everyone's advice and made sure that I didn't pay for anything that was extravagant. Ah, look at you. Or over the top. Anyway, last week we went on 2 dates. We did the whole dinner and a movie thing and also went to the museum.
Ooh.
Earlier this week, we went to a play, which sucked. We got some food after, which we had spicy sleep, which has been a long time coming. All was good. Great, actually. Yesterday, I went over to her house to bring her lunch. I knew she was home. I picked up some Chinese food and drove her to her apartment. I have the spare key to her place, so I opened the door and went in, and I see her effing some guy on the couch.
Do we not knock?
He had the key.
Yeah, he had the spare key.
And if they just had the spicy sleep,
Yeah.
he, considering what they've been through and what they've been talking about, I don't think he would have expected to come to that.
Yeah. Yikes, dude.
Rough.
Yikes. Caught
Rough.
in the act. We made eye contact and then I just walked out. She called me like an hour later and told me that we weren't exclusive and then if I didn't want her to be with the other guys, that's fine. An hour later, this girl was like, oh, sorry, let's just get back to it. Like,
Well, she's like,
she's in the middle of something.
yeah, she's in the middle of something. She's not just gonna like
She's got
stop.
a to-do list.
Right.
She's got her schedule for the day.
Right.
Like,
oh my gosh.
priorities.
Oh my gosh.
I am less certain that she wants to be with him for real reasons now.
Yeah, me too. That if I didn't want her to be with other guys, that's fine, but I needed to tell her in advance. I told her to get effed. I don't have time for BS like that. So that was fun. But there are some comments to this story. So Hanasuki says, honestly, OP, if you didn't try this, you probably would be thinking, what if, and regret not trying. I know it hurts, but now you know for sure. OP says, yeah, I know. It just sucks because I thought we were in a really good place. The Fireflies says, here's the thing. If you hadn't had the we're exclusive conversation, her sleeping with or dating other people is fair game. That tends to be how things work. That being said, since she was the one who expressed interest in you, I think you made the right call.
Yeah.
If she was really invested in making this work and it wasn't about the money, she wouldn't have been so keen on effing another guy. If she really wanted you, and since you've been friends for years, didn't need to do the whole getting to know you thing, she would have acted like it. OP says,
I agree with that comment completely.
Yeah, 100%. OP responds, if she was really invested in making this work and it wasn't about the money, she wouldn't have been so keen on effing the other guy. Yeah, so she's just, repeating the commenter, because that is a very true line. She says, I personally have never done this, but I've had it done to me. Did you guys have a conversation about where you wanted it to go? OP says, not specifically, but when she told me that she had feelings for me, she said, I want us to be together. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory. Oh, this poor guy, he's just so in love. He's just, he'll take anything.
The Delulu is strong.
Yeah. Deleted says, so if you weren't exclusive or serious, then why did you have a key to her place? OP says, it's not like she had a key cut specifically for me. She gave me the spare key to her place ages ago. I don't know why the idea of giving your spare key to a friend in case you get locked out is so foreign to everyone.
Yeah, guys. I'm going to have a key to Riley's place.
There you go.
But I'm going to knock.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I took it home, the Chinese food, and ate it all. It was pretty good, but I ate way too much. Spectrum 2081 says, dude, having a spare key you can use in case your friend gets locked out is fine. Inviting yourself over without so much as a call or text and letting yourself in with said spare key without ringing the doorbell? Come on. That's live-in boyfriend territory, and you are only a few dates in. I'm not saying you should have dated the girl in the first place, but yeah, you were clearly way farther into this relationship than you had any rational encouragement to be. So Railroad Baron says, I think it depends on the level of friendship. I have a friend who has an open door policy. If he's home, you're welcome to just walk right in. We have no idea how often he used the spare key when visiting her, but I would guess often since he doesn't think it's weird. Opie says, that's pretty much it. When I came over as a friend, I never had to tell her. I would just come over. There we go. I've certainly never walked in on her with another guy before. Generally, if she knew she was seeing someone, I would give her space and not come over. And that's the end of the story. That's all we got there.
My girlfriend decided to quit her job because I won the lottery.
That's mighty presumptuous.
My girlfriend, 30 female, and I, 31 male, have a pretty tumultuous relationship, which has seen us broken up twice already. I've been the initiator of the split both times, always because of her extreme, unrelenting clinginess and lack of trust. We don't live with each other, obviously. By the way, this comes from Exile Proofrock. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, why we're still together is a bit of a mystery to me. I love her for sure, and we can get along well together, but we also have very different ideas of what constitutes an acceptable amount of personal space and privacy. When I try to tell her that she is smothering me, she basically shrugs and says she isn't changing. The past 2 months, we've had a slight shelter from our usual storms, and it hasn't been as bad. She's still very clingy and constantly accuses me of chatting and meeting other girls. I haven't. Keeps close tabs on what I am doing or who I'm hanging out with, etc., etc. But I keep at it because I believe I'd be alone for a long time without her, and am frankly afraid of that. It doesn't help that she's also told me much the same, that I would be alone without her.
Oh.
Cut to a few weeks ago, I won a lot of money in the lottery, paid in lump sum. It's all very new to me and very, very surreal, and I haven't really done much with it all yet, but talked to some financial advisors to figure it all out. But it's readily acknowledged I am in a position to retire.
Damn! Break up with your girlfriend.
And retire. The only 2 things I have done so far is take a month off from work to sort through things and get very wasted on expensive scotch with my sister. I have a lot of friends right now. I know who my friends are and plan on doing nice things for them all. However, my girlfriend is now asking me if she can quit her job. When I asked her why she would, she said because I have money. That if she had won that much money, she'd have given me X amount of money without a thought, because that's what people do for those they love. Anyways, it didn't take long for her to start accusing me of wanting to ditch her now that I'm rich, and how she was so stupid not to have seen it before, all because I don't want to give her a poop load of money. I am in an awkward position now. What am I to do?
Break up.
I am not a stingy or shallow person, but this relationship was rocky before all of this.
I have advice.
Break up.
Give me the money
Break up.
and then break up.
Give me the money. Can I quit my job?
Can I quit my job? I love you.
I love you. I say as though I have a job outside of my day here.
This is my job.
This is my job, guys.
I
And
don't
I
wanna
like
quit.
it.
I don't want to quit.
I'd keep coming, even if I got money.
Me too.
I am afraid of looking shallow, I guess, even though I believe I am being practical. And while I am not necessarily clamoring for us to split right now, I feel like this will be an issue as long as we're together.
Then don't be together.
Suzanne
Break
said let her
up.
quit and then break up with her.
Break up.
I think that's what's about to happen, though.
That's oh man.
You gotta break up with her
up.
before she quits her job.
I think you should break up right now. I think you should have broken up yesterday. I think you should have broken up 3 weeks ago. And I certainly think you should break up today. That's all my thoughts. They should break up. I concede my time.
Great. Got some relevant comments. Comment 1. It's been 7 months and you've broken up twice already. Wait, it's been 7 months total?
Oh, break up.
And they've broken up twice.
If you break up twice within the span of 7 months, you gotta break up.
And he said it was him both times because of the clinginess.
It doesn't
Break up.
It doesn't say the time frame.
Apparently 7 months.
Oh wow.
Dump and run. OP says, the argument is I think she is overly smothering and she thinks I am afraid of intimacy. So sometimes I second guess my rationale. But she is certainly very keen on knowing everything I do. Like, if she sees I am online and it's not writing a levy email to her, it's an argument all night. I realize it sounds cut and dry, but she does have her good qualities. Another comment says, you've yet to mention any.
Yeah.
Reread what you've wrote and ask yourself, based on only what was written, what your advice to a different person who wrote that would be. Another commenter says, nope, nope, nope. You have this windfall and suddenly she thinks she's on easy street and never has to work again.
Easy
F
street.
that. Just hitting all the musical ones,
Yeah.
guys. You have much bigger fish to fry than your dating life. You need to talk to a financial consultant and find a way to make this money last so that you don't end up yet another cautionary tale. You need to learn to be appropriately selfish in a big way, and most likely, you're going to have to end your relationships with a lot of people. Otherwise, you are going to be expected to pay for pretty much everything and shamed when you don't. Don't F around with this. It could be the greatest or worst thing that has ever happened to you. Another commenter says, she is your girlfriend, not your fiance or your wife. She has no right to quit her job and rely on you to support her. She is fully taking advantage of the situation and is probably attempting to make you feel guilty by pulling the, if you break up with me, it's because you're rich now. Who cares if you
cares?
look shallow?
Do it.
She shouldn't assume that just because you happen to win a large amount of money, that she is entitled to any life-altering benefits from it. I would sit her down and explain why exactly you are breaking up with her, and explain why it has nothing to do with the newfound fortune. If she still accuses you of it being because of the money, you'll know she is just trying to emotionally manipulate you.
OP, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna call up one of our OK Story Time own from the last story. We're gonna learn how to really bluntly tell people we don't want to hang out with them. And then we're gonna apply that to your girlfriend and tell her it's not because I have money, it's just because I don't like you.
And that OP will make sure he's got your back.
Mhm.
Yeah, OP,
She'll
you
be
need an
sad.
anger.
He knows how to reject someone.
OP needs an anger translator, you know?
OP says,
Extremely.
extremely well said. And who cares if I look shallow? This seems to be my problem. She just texted me a while ago saying she accepted my quirks before I won the money, and few ever did so before. I've only had 2 relationships. So to ditch her now proves money will change me.
And then you say, I am changed. I don't like you. Bye.
He says, I feel guilty.
No, stop it. Stop it. Slap. Wake up.
She is sounding like she's manipulating you to stay in this relationship.
She absolutely
in
is.
a lot of ways.
She's trying to get your money, man.
She's got you back twice.
I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she is.
But break up with her permanently the 3rd time.
Yes.
Gloopy Sloop says, this so reminds me of when I finally told my harmful ex-wife I was leaving, and she said, I'm the only person who would put up with your BS. I feel guilty, which I am sure is her intention. This is manipulative as heck. If you didn't think you had a reason to leave before, you do now. And there's an edit. Thank you all for taking the time to respond. I think I am taking my anxiety with the whole situation in general and applying it to a relationship that was on wobbly legs already. I am afraid of having to make tough, selfish decisions with a lot of out-of-the-woodwork people, but this is clearly a no-brainer. The decision was essentially made before my win even. Thanks again for your input and advice. And we have an update 18 days later.
Let's get into it.
A few people have messaged me asking for an update on the situation. In a word, nightmare.
Oh no.
Suffice to say, she was not happy when I told her that she needs to forget about the money for now, and that we had serious problems in our relationship from before the win that we kept sweeping aside, and all this has done is force us to have a conversation we needed to have anyways. It got heated pretty quickly, and I feel like we kept digressing into petty arguments about old stuff instead of sticking to the main issue. She suddenly took to calling me selfish and unreasonable, which took me completely off guard and had me scrambling to defend myself before it occurred to me that she was just trying to make me feel guilty again. After probably 4 or 5 hours of getting nowhere, I finally said that we are breaking up and there's nothing more to it.
Good.
She got up from the couch, got her stuff, and told me to go to effing heck, and slammed the door.
Woo.
Next day, the texts and emails started to come in saying that no one will love me like she did, how it's sad to see how money has changed me so quickly, hoping I have fun banging superficial escorts on and on and on.
And this is when you message back just one thing, I will, and then you block.
Or be like, this is exactly why we broke up.
Literally go buy yourself, because you have all the money in the world now, to buy yourself a little tiny violin and start learning lessons
And
and,
then
play
send
for
that
her.
to her and
Yeah.
say goodbye forever.
I ignore the messages. The next day, she calls and I ignore the call. And she goes to voicemail and says she is crying and says she needs my help and has no one else to turn to and to please call her. I don't call her back.
Did she even sound like she was crying? Or did she just say, I'm crying? She said, I'm crying.
Please help.
There's
I'm
tears
sad.
rolling down my face.
I'm crying a lot.
I'm sobbing. I can barely breathe.
Thursday night around 11:30 p.m., the police are knocking at my door.
Nuts.
Apparently, a neighbor called in a loud domestic dispute from my apartment. I tell him I've been alone all night. He asks to take a look around, and I say sure. He says the neighbor who called is not answering their door nor their phone, and asks if I recognize the last 4 digits of a number, which I don't. So he asks if I know any reason why someone would call the police making such a claim. I tell him I did recently break up with a girlfriend on the weekend, and we did yell, so either someone took their time to call or my ex is not taking things well. We both agree it is strange.
Yeah.
I decide not to ask her about it. Over the weekend, I get a few emails and texts and calls from her that start off sweet and nostalgic and end up angry and accusing me of throwing her to the side and being heartless, among other things. From the voicemails, I can tell she is wasted. I can't resist, so I ask her by email if she knew anything about the prank call to the police, which of course she denies, and then spins back on me. Do I really think she is so petty? Why would I ever think that? It just proves I never trusted her. Back to arguing, so I don't reply. By the way, we'll always reply with full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app. Search up OK Storytime. Got a little bit left, but you did it, buddy.
You did it. You broke up with her, and that's all I wanted.
That's all we wanted.
Thumbs up, bud.
Hold strong this time.
Please stay broken up.
So yesterday, I logged on to Facebook for the first time in a while, and I noticed over the past few days, she's been adding my friends as friends. Nothing else, but it freaks me out. I send her a message asking why she's adding my friends, and she essentially says it's a free country and that she couldn't have been so bad if my friends like her too. All to say, I am weary and I am depressed and lonely. And I have a feeling this is going to be a pain in the butt. Objectively, I know this was a good move, but subjectively, it's a whole other matter. I look forward to normal times. Opie says, I've locked my Facebook privacy settings down and emailed some friends. My closest friends and family are well in the know already, of course. And that's the end of that
all you
story.
need.
My ex-roommate stole money and lied about it.
Confront her about that.
Posting this about my friend C, who I'm currently caring for. This story isn't just his word. I've been helping him with paperwork and going through the downloaded Instagram conversations, messages with legal aid, and emails between his ex-housemates and his disability advocate.
Oh, wow.
This is in Victoria, Australia. Rental bond is similar to an American deposit, what you pay when you move into a rental place. By the way, this comes from Plankton Electronic 61, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in this situation, so let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, Sai is physically disabled and on Centrelink. Last October, Sai answered a housemate ad and moved in with an engaged couple, B and Riley, who both use they them pronouns. Sai paid bond and rent right away to B. He keeps screenshots whenever he pays bond, rent, or bills and still has these. That's smart to do, honestly, either way, if you trust your people or not. When he moved in, the couple told Sai that they would be living there until June or July 2025. Later, they told him February 2025 and then messaged him in December 2024 that they were moving out in a month. Sai had to scramble to find a place in time and ended up in a boarding house that was unsuitable for his disabilities. He is now living somewhere safe. Around this time, B and Riley posted on social media that they had bought a house. The couple told Sai that the real estate were being difficult and not giving the bond back. In Victoria, if the real estate or landlord doesn't return a tenant's bond, the tenants can apply for bond return via VCAT, which is the rental tribunal. Sai suggested VCAT, and the couple said that they were going to apply but couldn't afford it. Sai offered to pay for it because he desperately needed his bond money back, but the couple told him he wasn't actually on the lease, so he couldn't do anything.
Huh?
I'm sorry?
How is he not on the lease?
How did that happen? How would he know if he's not on the lease? Because do you have to sign something when you're on the lease?
I mean, if he came in as like a sublet, maybe it was like an illegal sublet that he just wouldn't have known. But Riley, that would mean that Riley and B lied.
Yeah, totally. Oh my goodness. It's worth noting that B and Riley were posting about getting lip fillers, labubus, and a pool table for their home bar while telling Sai that they couldn't afford VCAT.
Labubu's already making it into these stories is The best.
I know we've caught up with the times now.
Yes.
It costs about $70 AUD, which is less than a Labubu. From February to June, the couple kept telling Sai that they couldn't give his bond back because they hadn't gotten theirs back from the real estate. They said that they were too stressed out and too burnt out to do the VCAT paperwork. Riley sent Sai a few $100 payments, which they said were out of their own pocket, but those stopped in April. Sai offered again to pay for the VCAT and help with the paperwork, but the couple kept making excuses. Riley said that the two of them had a bad case of the vid, even though B was posting Instagram stories of them going out. Starting in May, Sai's health drastically declined. He has nerve damage in his lower back that makes walking difficult, and his medication makes it hard for him to talk or control his hands. Me and a couple of others have been helping him with daily living tasks, and I've been helping him with paperwork and appointments. Riley began getting hostile, telling Sai that they or B would send payments that never arrived. When Sai politely said he hadn't received them, Riley would snap that they had no money and they were paying Sai out of pocket, even though the payments had stopped months ago. Riley told Sai not to push them because they were at their wits' end. Despite claiming that they had no money, the couple were still posting about new furniture and renovations. This is like not even cheap stuff. Like,
At least be smart about it.
Right?
If you're gonna.
like maybe don't go on Instagram and post these
Yeah.
things, or like block them from your story or something.
Yeah.
Like-
I googled the conversion rate. The 70 Australian dollars is like 45 US dollars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which is nothing compared house renovations.
Right.
That's crazy. In June, Sai told a hospital social worker about the bond situation, and the social worker reported it. His case was referred to a community legal service, which advised his disability advocate to send a demand letter for the rest of his money back.
Good.
Okay. We're getting some legal action
Here we
here.
go.
Thank goodness. At that point, everyone thought B and Riley had gotten their bond back. A VCAT is usually done 2 weeks after leaving a property, not 5 months later. The real estate agency was contacted, and it turned out B and Riley didn't get their bond back because of rental arrears. They hadn't been paying rent, but they were still taking his rent money.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This was news to Sai because he was paying rent to B. B and Riley had kept Sai's bond money, never lodged it, never admitted, never added him to the lease, and also kept his rent money instead of paying it. They didn't get their bond back because of rental arrears, then lied to Sai for months, saying they couldn't give his bond back because the real estate hadn't returned theirs. I mean, I guess that's true. They didn't receive their bond back, but
Yeah.
it's a little
but
bit of a white
still, like,
lie.
pay this man his money back. You
Yes.
guys suck.
Oh my goodness. Like, if you're getting extra money from someone that you're screwing over, at least use that to pay the rent.
Right.
Come on.
How were you not even paying the rent?
Right. They had known all along that they weren't getting their bond back and misled Sai by claiming they were paying him back out of their own pocket when his money had already gone into their pockets. Additionally, B had sent Sai messages they claimed were from the real estate agent, but when contacted, the agent said she had never said those things. This is... They're messing everything up, these guys.
I'm so worried for you, Sai.
I know. I mean, at least Sai seems to have a lot of, like, legal people behind him, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just wondering, and I guess he also did take like very good pictures
Yeah.
and like documentation of
Evidence, yeah.
everything. So yeah, it could work out actually.
I have hope. I have hope. And, like, the real estate agent could say something, too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sai's advocate sent B and Riley the demand letter via email. They replied by claiming Sai never cleaned and that he did nothing around the house.
Well, now that doesn't really let you keep his rent though.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Like, there's no lease agreement about that.
Sorry, the disabled tenant
Yeah.
with nerve damage in his back couldn't
Yeah.
clean how much you wanted him to.
Right. And I'm sure he still did anyway.
Right. Yeah, I don't believe anything that Riley and B say.
Yeah. Then they claimed Sai trashed the place before he left. Days later, Riley claimed that they had talked to Sai about paying some costs, and Sai had refused.
The advocate knew they were lying and trying to muddy the waters. The downloaded share house messages contained conversations about Sai cleaning, doing chores, and mowing. Oh my gosh. He was mowing while disabled? How do you do that? That's crazy. The conversations after they all moved out were about the bond, with no mention of any cleaning that Sai didn't do. Instead, there were messages of Sai offering to pay for the VCAT so they could all get their bond back. When Sai was reading the emails, he confirmed that he did clean and do chores and that the conversations Riley mentioned never happened. B and Riley also said it was Sai's fault that he wasn't on the lease, which is ridiculous because even if that were true, it's still illegal for them not to return his bond money. If they had added Sai to the lease, he would have done a VCAT and found out much sooner about the rental arrears. In between attacking Sai, the couple said it was unfair for the advocate to take legal action if they didn't return Sai's money. They never mentioned how fair it was for them to take and spend his money and lie to him about it for months. They also treated the disability advocate the same way they treated Sai, promising payments that never came. Riley offered to pay Sai back $50 a fortnight, and the advocate agreed. Riley sent one $50 payment and then stopped. When the advocate emailed to remind them of their agreement, they ignored her. This is the scummiest thing I've ever witnessed. They sprung it on Sai that they were moving out, leaving him scrambling for housing in a crisis. They lied to him about his bond money for months, claimed they were too stressed or broke to do the VCAT even when Sai offered to pay for it and handle the paperwork, and kept promising payments that never came. They lied to a disability advocate about someone who can barely speak for himself. It's hard to get much lower than that. We're going to a community legal advice again and small claims court when Sai's health improves. The case keeps getting bounced from service to service, and we're already drowning in paperwork for all his medical and daily living needs. A case manager just took over from the advocate this week, but we're not sure how much he can help. Any advice would be appreciated, and there is an update, but
Oh, wow.
boy.
Wow.
Do you have any
Oh.
advice for them at all?
It sounds like you guys got it down pretty good. You
That's what
guys
I'm
got
thinking.
like your advocates and stuff
Yep.
for Sai.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have much
Right.
legal knowledge, so
Especially about Australia.
right. So like I don't know how like what else you could do, but yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like you're doing the most you can. You've got everyone on your side. I feel like if you did take this to small claims court, you would definitely win.
Yeah.
And be
It's one
fine.
of those things where it's like you obviously haven't been the one doing anything wrong.
Right.
So like it seems pretty unlosable.
Right, exactly. So I hope this update has as much hope as I do. So update. Firstly, Sai is doing much better lately. Okay. He now goes to a medical center closer to him than the hospital that he was previously at. He joined a few online communities and is trying to start a group for disabled people in our area to get community and give advice and recommendation. As for B and Riley, they paid Sai his money back. They apologized for lying to him for months and for lying about him to the disability advocate, and they both took full accountability for their actions. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Opie says, nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was scared of that.
No! Instead, they posted online about going on vacation. Yes, despite claiming for months that they were too stressed to do the VCAT paperwork and too broke to return Sai's money, somehow B and Riley weren't too stressed or too broke to book and pay for flights and all other vacation costs. Just like when Riley told Sai that they and B had a bad case of the vid, and B was posting Instagram stories about going out the same day, magically cured. Someone should call the Vatican because these two are just constantly having miracles. We haven't heard anything from the case manager. Right now, we've still got appointments and daily living stuff, and Sai says he doesn't want to think about the couple anymore, so we're leaving it for now. We did file a police report about the situation. The police said that they couldn't charge the couple because it's a tenancy matter, but at least now there's a report if we do go to small claims court, or if B and Riley try to financially exploit another vulnerable person. The real estate agency aren't happy about being dragged into this over 8 months after the tenancy ended, but oh well, Sai didn't want to be a part of this either. The only people who wanted this to go on for so long are B and Riley because they still refuse to return Sai's money. Sai said he doesn't want to think about them anymore, so we're respecting his wishes. The main upsetting thing was Riley. Sai and Riley both came from the same home state and had similar rough upbringings. Sai had offered to pay and help Riley with filing the VCAT when Riley told him they were too stressed. Sai even looked after Bea and Riley's dog for free when they went on vacation over Christmas. And even after all that, Riley still lied to Sai for months, refused to return his money even knowing Sai was low income and desperately needed it, and smeared Sai to his disability advocate. Sai saw Riley as a friend and someone who had gone through similar things. Riley just saw Sai as someone to take advantage of. As I said before, it's hard to get lower. And to answer some questions I got on Reddit and Facebook, this post wasn't a dig at non-binary people. I did not read it like that at all.
That's crazy.
That is wild. Most of the people involved in this are queer, including me. That's how we all know each other. I have friends who know Bea and Riley, so that's how we knew what they had been posting. And by the way, you could always know what we're posting on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime, and you're going to find all those full episodes of stories just like this one. And there is a little bit more to this story. But my goodness.
Just the worst people that you could live with or know.
Yeah. I know. I feel like they need to be taking screenshots of like all of the Instagram stories of the expensive things they're doing.
I fully thought this whole time that they were posting that stuff with like knowing that Sai was like on their socials and stuff.
Right.
So I'm a little bit glad at least that they like thought they were clever enough to like get away with it.
And they were like stupid.
Good on your friends for reaching out and being like, hey, by the way, they're on vacation.
Right. I'm glad that like the friends like OP of Bea and Riley are not, on
also,
their side.
Like Bea and Riley.
It's just interesting because we see so many stories where it's like, oh yeah, like these people are doing this to me, and like their whole friend circle is like on board with them and also against me. And so it's kind of nice seeing the friends' perspective and being like, yeah, no, they're terrible people.
Right. We don't support them.
Yeah, but there is a little bit more to the story. Sai wasn't expecting them to accuse him of not cleaning or the other lies. He had to download his conversations with the couple for legal services. It was just lucky that the things they were accusing Sai of were easily disproven if you scroll up the share house conversation to when they were all living there. And a little bit of an edit, Sai is very non-confrontational, and even though he'd talk to them friendly and politely, the couple would overreact. For example, in January, just after they had left, Sai asked the couple if they could forward him the email conversation between them and the real estate agent, and Bea replied, "We're not against you." Sai would have to reassure them he didn't think they were against him.
But the whole time they were!
They were! When Sai told Riley that he hadn't received a payment Riley said was being sent, Riley went off with, "I'm at my wit's end." So Sai wasn't in a position to confront them and say, "You're clearly lying about the VCAT," or "If you can afford to buy lip fillers each, you can afford to return my bond money." And that is the end of that story.
My parents gave me an inheritance, but I chose to throw it away.
Throwing all the money in the trash.
There is a trigger warning here for verbal abuse. 6 years ago, my father came to me and offered to buy me a house, advising that due to my situation then, I would never be able to afford one on my own. My now wife and I were creative university students renting in a poorly constructed mid-century cottage. By the way, this comes from user drytext4277, and I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we are here to give you good advice goofily, despite how many rashes we have. But we don't have all the answers. But we only know what we do. If you do something different, just let us know in the comments. Originally, the plan was to build a small dwelling on the family farm, but all parties thought that was a poor choice, so we chose a different path. My father advised that the house he proposed to buy would be my inheritance. He would put money into the deposit and buy it for me and my wife, and we would pay off the remaining mortgage, council rates, and associated bills. Further to this, we would need to buy out the remainder of the mortgage from him prior to his retirement. He was 50 at the time, and the planned retirement age was 60. We came to an agreement on what type of house we were looking for, with the belief that this would be the only house I would be able to own, and for what price he was happy to pay. My mother then added the caveat that in order for her to accept this arrangement, my wife and I would need to save $10,000 within 12 months for them to trust our ability to pay bills. I earned $24,000 and my wife less, and we had creeping rent prices to pay, not to mention the bills. Regardless, we got to July and had saved $4,000 when we found a small cottage that we thought was perfect. It was close to my wife's elderly parents, who were a large part of our lives and had a direct route to the city, and was $130,000 cheaper than what my father wanted to spend. It wasn't the prettiest, and Dad suspected some sheets in the roof might be asbestos. But he was happy to get a building inspector to verify this. Or I was happy to get it. My mother decided it was not in their interest to pursue the house, as we had yet to save the $10,000, and they would be unable to flip it if anything went wrong. In fairness, Dad had looked at 2 houses that fit into my wife's and I criteria, and both times they had fallen through. It was at this moment, when my mother refused compromise with what we were looking for or trust that we were halfway to meeting our goal, that it really spelled out that they wanted something different to us. We looked at more market-friendly houses from then on, and Dad, believing us about our savings, got pre-approval and thus started a countdown. By September, one house had stayed on the market in the small village next to my parents' farm. It was an hour away from my wife's family and over an hour and a half from the city where we both worked. We had not given it any serious thought in the months prior, and neither of us wanted to live that far away from everything. There was a house opening one weekend, and Dad was pressuring us with the pre-approval end date. We agreed to go, but just a few days before, our car broke down, leaving us unable to travel out from the city to have a look at the house. I called my dad after going over the listing and advised that he had our permission to go ahead if he liked it. What followed was a torrent of verbal abuse over the phone, telling me he didn't need our permission to spend his money, along with horrific and personal insults that came out of nowhere. My father often flies off the handle when stressed and takes it out on those around him, but this was particularly bad. I was shocked, as it was completely the opposite of what he had been saying for the past year. Further to this, my wife and I had been subsisting on beans and whatever I could cook cheaply for the past 9 months to save enough to make my mother happy. I responded with anger and raged against him, ending the argument with a firm no to the house and any help he had to offer. That was the first time I turned him down. He bought the house that weekend, regardless. I promised my wife I would never get into an argument like that again. We spent our savings on things we desperately needed and had our real estate agent begging us to sign up for a long-term lease in an old cottage in a nice part of town. I had started to earn more, and both my wife and I felt a great release when turning down my father. We did not speak to them for weeks, but slowly, both parents began pressuring me to take up their offer, and I turned them down. Good for you.
Nice.
Yeah, now they're going to start sweating. They're like, wait.
Yeah, he's consistently turning us down.
Oh, wait, you're making more money now, and you're renting a place that you really like, and now we're going to have to flip this house that you told us you didn't want. Oh, so now we just bought a huge responsibility for ourselves.
I love, though, that after the first time that they said no, they're like, oh my God, we can do this. And then they just got to keep saying no and have that moment of, oh my God, we can do this.
Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to buy? You don't want this house? No, Dad, I don't. I don't want it. You can have it.
It's like, well, I don't want the house either. This house kind of sucks.
How do I? Maybe if I yell at him some more, he'll take the house. Then my 14-year-old brother called, saying he wanted more of a relationship with me and felt he would not have that if we continued to live in the city. Later, he would confess that my mother had directed him to say this, which is exactly what I expected. But I knew back then that my parents were threatening the relationship with my siblings over this matter. We moved into the house in November, and shortly after became pregnant. We slowly changed the house to our tastes and took out a loan to renovate the lighting and for paint, and we also used half of the loan to buy a second car. In the next 5 years, I quadrupled my wage as I became a public servant, understanding it to be the most stable career path for my new family. Cost of living crisis grew, the vid came, and all the while I paid for every bill and rate increase they asked for. My mother called our place their rental, and despite getting married in the back garden and raising my son there, it failed to feel like home.
Yeah, probably because someone else is sitting there going, and don't forget this is our house.
Yeah.
Not yours.
And don't forget who made this possible.
Ugh.
As life became more expensive, My wife's and my wages spread more thinly. We were unable to save, and as such, I was living in a house I could not buy from my father. Last October, my mother asked us to pay a further bill on top of our usual load, the building insurance for the year, which came to $1,000. I had paid all bills on time and had never quibbled over the price up until this point. My engine had blown 2 months prior, and my replacement wiped $3,500 out of our back pocket. The bill was due in November, and I had locked all our bills in up to Christmas, so I was a bit put out. Still, I agreed to pay it, asked if it can be split into 4 payments, and my mother agreed. Christmas came, and I found out my sister owed them $5,000 in car repairs, and they were selling their last rental in the UK. They were stressed, and Mom wanted a family chat to basically say they could not afford to keep bailing out their 4 children. I agreed with the idea. And some further context, my father was building a $300,000 shed house on the farm for my younger brother, who had consistently turned the offer down. The caveat here was that my brother would pay off the mortgage on the family farm and then split it with our youngest sister when she was older, while Dad built a further shed house for himself and Mom in retirement. This would saddle my brother with more than $1 million in debt by the age of 30. What kind of deal is that?
Yeah, I'll build you a little shed out in the back, but you have to pay off the whole farm mortgage, and I'm going to build another house that I will live in. And then you have to split it with your sister.
It sounds like really the reality is that the parents can't afford home ownership, or I guess farm ownership.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know how to afford this. We'll just make our children pay for it.
Right. We'll just
And
move
we'll
out
say-
of the main house
yeah.
and live in a shed. That's probably a really nice house still.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming that it's just, they're saying shed, but it's just like
A house.
a whole other
Yeah,
building.
That's
yeah.
what I'm picturing.
That's crazy. Before the family meeting could occur, my father belittled me over the split insurance bill. He couldn't understand how someone in their 30s didn't have $1,000 on hand. My son was in the next room, and I could see my father wanted an argument, so I attempted to leave twice. My father denied me the opportunity, as we had 6 years before, and we got into an argument, this time over the cost of living and differences in generations. It ended with him screaming at me that we had 6 months to leave our house.
I just can't believe this, Dad.
Yeah, this is I don't know. He's
How dare you not want to go into debt at 30?
dad landlord is not a great
First
not a great
landlord.
vibe. Dad lord. We had paid over $100,000 into the mortgage and council rates, $2,000 on the lights, and more for the paint. I had landscaped the garden with rare native plants and was looking at building decks and renovating the shed into a studio. All of it was gone over $674. We had paid off part of the original bill along with the stability of my family. I called Mom to clarify if Dad was serious, and she advised that he was not. He was just angry. We waited 3 months to talk to them for me to calm down, and finally I came to the conclusion to leave. My friends and other family members and my wife had all questioned our situation over the years, seeing it as basically just paying off my parents' mortgage. There was no written contract, and my mother had only recently stopped calling our house her rental. Still, I defended my father's words for those years, and because of this, I was left without a leg to stand on. And we have a little bit more story left here. But Carly,
Yeah.
would you leave this house?
I'm getting out of this place. I don't want to deal with this. The second that I turn 30, he's going to be like, give me $4,000.
If there's literally no written agreements, how are you
Right.
going to enforce any? Like, you're just banking on this person to just hand it to you when it's done. And I'm sure the goalposts will be moved again.
He
They'll go,
knows
oh, yeah,
that-
you've paid it, but now you have to pay rent every month, and it's still not yours. And once I pass away, I'll give it to you in my will.
That's what it feels like.
Like, I thought this was supposed to be so that we could have a house, not so that you could have a house that we live in, you know? Well, let's finish this story. I told my parents we were leaving, and they seemed surprised, then concerned, then happy. Our house had doubled in price, and they could start charging more for renters. Dad had often bemoaned he was not charging what he could rent with us, so I suppose it worked out perfectly for them. I've just exposed my small family to the crazy housing crisis that is dominating Australia at the moment. My elderly in-laws have taken us in, and we plan on saving as much as possible to afford a house in the next 2 years. With current prices the way they are, I'm unsure if we can keep up. So am I the a-hole for forsaking my inheritance and my family's stability? And that is the end of that story. My sister left us in shambles after borrowing money from the whole family.
You should rob her.
I've spoken of bits of this stuff in other posts, but I had to learn the hard way my sister can't be loaned money. She never liked paying it back, and I had to remind her a lot. There weren't many times in my 20s she borrowed from me. She borrowed stuff more than money then. I made the mistake of lending her my Nintendo Entertainment System, and her cats destroyed it. By the way, this comes from user DeFoxtrot86, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And let's see what OP has to say. Speaking of cats, a decade ago, she had to have a cat put down, and she called me begging I drive over and help her. She and all her kids piled into my old car, and we went to the vet. The elderly cat had broken its leg badly and may have been hit by a car or even, booted, from what the vet told us. We had this big emotional farewell for my sister's cat passing away. And then right in the middle of it, my sister looks at me while sobbing and says, OP, can you pay for it? She sandbagged me in the middle of that in front of the kids. It took her months before she paid me back and was embittered when she finally did. I think she was hoping I just let it go for the sake of the cat. Never mind, she also dumped a sickly cat on me for years and barely saw it at all, then lost her mind calling it her baby and said I was just giving up when the vet said the cat needed to be put down. There were a couple of other small money lending situations during that time. I can't remember for what, but like always, it was a chore to get paid back. Stop it. I don't have any sympathy for you now if you continue to lend her money. While it is not lending per se, once around that time, I paid a visit to my sister and was very tired when I was at her house, so I took a nap on her couch. I had a habit of taking my wallet, phone, and anything else in my pockets and putting them in my hat on the end table before sleeping on the couch. Well, after I woke up, I found my stuff on the floor. My nephews had gone through the stuff in my hat and scattered it on the floor. They did this once when stealing my mother's purse to look for money in it. They thankfully didn't steal the cash in my wallet, but they stole all the loose change I had sitting in that hat. I was furious and demanded my sister get it all back. She was basically like, oh, lighten up. It's just some loose change. You're teaching your kids to steal. Stop it. But she willingly let it happen. And as many know from reading my other posts, she's an absolutely terrible parent. Her attitude about it pissed me off, so I demanded that I get all the change back and even pointed out what kind of poor example she was setting for her kids. She tried to brush me off and say they were just kids. But I pointed out how she let them steal from me and how I wouldn't let that happen to her. So what kind of example was she setting by not punishing her kids for stealing? My sister ended up looking resigned to the fact I wasn't letting it go. She called her kids into the living room and told them to give the money back. They tried to deny it with crap-eating grins until I pointed out the facts, and then they started crying because they didn't want to give it back. You're raising the little monsters everyone hates.
It's just like, okay, boo-hoo, give it back.
It's better to do this now than them try to pull this with the police.
Yeah.
When they're older.
Yeah.
They had to go into their rooms and look for it. They only found about 2/3 of it to return to me, but enough of an example was made. They never stole money from me again. My sister acted like I went too far, and I told her those boys needed that discipline or they'd never stop. After my sister destroyed her marriage and she and her husband split, she ended up moving into an old trailer on our family property. She had $14,000 to her name from her half of the house sale when she and her ex split. Manufactured home in a trailer park. After moving in, she was asked about getting a job. Then she'd get weepy and say she wanted to spend the summer with her kids and couldn't imagine not having that time with them. We were like, okay, fair, but you'll get a job once the kids go back to school, right? My sister promised that she'd get that job once summer ended. Well, summer ended and she didn't get that job. And when confronted again, she used crocodile tears and whined that she couldn't imagine being away from her boys, even though they were in school and she was just hiding in that old trailer all day or going out drinking with friends.
Ah!
So we're not giving her any more money, right?
Right? We've learned by now, right?
Right? Please tell me this story doesn't end up with you giving her more money, right?
Certainly the title doesn't mean anything.
I can't afford the stuff for my kids. Well, then they can come stay with me until you get back on your feet. There's literally no shame in that. That's happened in my own family. It's been where it's like, yeah, we are having problems with finances. We can't afford stuff. Okay, come stay with us.
Yeah.
It's like the solution is not don't give her any more money.
Right.
Please, for the love of God.
Help her out where you can, but don't give her more money.
Okay. This confrontation happened multiple times. Eventually, my sister spent herself into a hole and begged her soon-to-be ex-husband to get back together with her, so he moved into the trailer. But my sister told everyone it was his idea, and she even made him buy her a couple of dogs.
Because that's what we needed, more financial responsibility.
More things to feed. She was also completely ungrateful when he bought her a refurbished fridge. Soon enough, he couldn't take it anymore and started house hunting. That's when my sister really had no choice but to finally get a job. My sister finally got a job to have her own income, and then she decided she wanted a brand new trailer. I didn't find out for years that she had talked our grandparents into completely signing for the trailer's mortgage. My sister also had to get her water and power from my house, which is a sub-building I rent from our parents. Well, she doubled my electric bill and would pay me her half in cash, but she often delayed for months. People told me over and over again to shut her power off since she wouldn't pay, but my nephews were living in there with her 5 days a week. I couldn't cut the power and leave them cold. I was paying the power bill by check, and then my sister convinced me to pay it digitally through her phone, which took like 5 minutes each time it was done. And no matter what kind of day she had or was having, she'd hem or haw about paying the bill. It was out of my dang account, and I had to force her to get on the phone and do it almost every time. And then there was the money she owed me. In winter, she drove up my bill to over $500 a month. I'm on a fixed income, and that was basically half of what I got a month back then, and she wasn't paying her half. So I started keeping a record on paper of how much she owed. She really didn't like finding out about that. Once I confronted my sister over how she kept going out to bars with friends and spending so much on drinks and other things, when she owed me hundreds of dollars, she looked me right in the eye and said, "I'm not changing my life for your sake."
Woo! Then I'm not donating anything else to you for your sake or helping you anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to donate you some winter jackets so that when I cut the power off at the house, you guys can stay warm.
Yeah.
So I doubled down on making her pay me back. She owed me around $500 at the time and showed up at my door with a $100 bill and acted like that was enough. I took the $100 and said she had $400 left to pay. She looked at me like I had two heads and said, "But I paid you." And I said, "You made a payment. You didn't pay at all." She doesn't even know how bills work. She gave me that look like it didn't mentally compute and repeated, "But I paid you." And I had to tell her, $100 is not $500. You still owe me the rest. She frowned and walked off. I knew what she was doing. She was trying to shortchange me and make me call it even, but I didn't. Before long, I stopped paying the electric bill digitally and went back to paying with a check because my sister always made it such a pain. When my sister finally noticed, she was like, "Why would you pay with a check in the mail when we could just use my phone?" And I told her to face that it's because she acted so dramatic every time it was time to pay and made it a complete hassle just to do it every month when it took so little time. She couldn't even retort. She just looked away with a bitter face. She asked me the same thing one more time on another day, and I gave her the same reply. At this point, I think it was more about control than the money. My sister wanted me dependent on her. She went through a bad phase of trying to mom me after moving into the new trailer, and I had to tell her off for it. But she was also constantly trying to get me to pick her over our mother. Our last confrontation made it clear that was not going to happen. My sister eventually paid her debts to me off, but she racked them right back up again. Around this time, she had a terrible boyfriend that only made her worse. She wasn't paying her half of the power bill at all and just kept stalling whenever asked. Our mother got involved and had it out with her. She went down there and yelled at her that I'm on a fixed income and she was draining me financially. Soon I got a forced apology and a promise for repayment. She and her boyfriend paid me a few hundred and that helped me get through the holidays, but the debt was racked right back up again. My sister owed me a lot and then asked me for a loan of $100 twice on top of it. She gave me the classic line from substance users, "You know I'm good to pay you back." She freaking wasn't. She was spending most of her money on substances and booze, and she didn't even buy winter clothes for her children. I had to buy them after my youngest nephew came to me in a t-shirt and shorts in 39 degrees. And I'm not counting the $200 I spent on those clothes and another $120 I gave her out of pity later. She owed me $800 and still does. That's money I'll probably never see again, but I'm not going to forget it, that's for sure. The last time I saw my sister, we got in a shouting match, and among the things I yelled at her, I brought up the $800 she owes me. She made a shocked face that tells me she totally forgot, and then she quickly yelled about something else.
Oh my God. How do you show up with $100 thinking that that equals $500 when in reality it's actually like $800 that you owe? And then think that you have the like entitlement to have any control over the situation that someone else is doing for you?
I would have cut her off forever ago.
Yeah.
She's like, "But we don't have power." I'd be like, "'Cause you didn't pay it."
You should probably pay that so you have power again.
That's what happens every single place where you live. If you don't pay the bill, whatever you are not paying for goes away.
even if it was on my card and I agreed to do the power, the second that she's not, like, she's giving me trouble for doing the 5-minute phone call to pay the bill, I'd be like, okay, then I guess we're not doing it.
Yeah.
I
Straight up.
offered to pay, but I guess we're not doing it now.
It's not like she'll ever willingly pay me back. I've got no proof to take her to small claims court either. Not that she has the money. She keeps moving to someplace else like every 6 months because she doesn't have a stable income. The thing that got my sister evicted from the family property was Thanksgiving 2023. We went out for Chinese food because no one wanted to cook. And by the way, you can listen to full stories just like this. We're always cooking them up on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. Just type OK Storytime into your search, and you can listen to the full archive. Let's get right into this. So, when we went out for dinner, my sister went to go gamble in the room with all those machines in the back by the bar. She spent most of the dinner back there and then came back bragging about how she'd won $130 and then dropped the money on the table in front of us with a big smile on her face. Never mind that she owed us all money. Me, $800, and our parents and grandparents, thousands. She made 2 payments to our grandparents after being evicted, and none of us have seen a dime from her since. That Thanksgiving, as my sister smugly returned to the table, she started blatantly ignoring most of us.
I think I'd pick that money right off the table and be like, great, now you have 360.
Yeah, or like you'd have 670.
Oh, yeah, because we're going up to 800.
Yeah, so that's just for me. Let's split that up among everyone evenly.
Yeah.
I tried to talk to her repeatedly, and our stepfather finally called her out. It resulted in a big scene, and my sister took her kids and stormed out. Our mother trailed after to try and calm her down, but my sister spit venom at her. Our mother finally hit her breaking point and told her she could get off of her property. She drew up a written eviction later. My sister left us with her trailer mortgage since her name wasn't on it, and basically just walked away to go do substances with her next boyfriend. I think.
Oh, where are the kids?
Yeah, that's the end of that story.
I'm worried about the kids.
We need to get CPS involved. If you realize that she's using, she's drinking, she's gambling, she's with a beat boyfriend, get the kids out of there.
Yeah. My friend's wife is scamming our friend group, and I want to expose her.
Get rid of her!
I know the title sounds wild, but I really need some advice here. Not using my real account for this one. My best friend Dave, 35 male, is married to Beth, 39 female. They've been together for roughly 10 years and married for 5-ish. In 2023, Beth and Dave purchased a home out in the country and started their mini farm dream. This turned into a nonprofit for Beth as she wanted to bring in larger animals that needed new homes.
Stop, that's so cute.
It's pretty common where we live to retire farm animals to smaller farms. So we thought, okay, cool. She's onto something here. I'm not entirely sure how much money they raised for the startup, but I was under the impression that donations were pretty sparse over the first year. By the way, this comes from Peter Potter P. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, Beth has always worked in the service industry and late night bars around town. The lack of constant donations was a surprise to Beth because she thought she had networked better throughout the years, have more financial support. I remember thinking, you gave these people drinks for tips and that's all they've ever really owed you. But sure, I'm sorry, that sucked. No real consistent updates ever came from the nonprofit efforts, and it felt pretty uncomfortable to ask. Around July 2024, Beth alerted our friend group that she had been going through some health issues and was looking for extra support. She claimed they were having trouble finding answers from doctors, maybe an intense case of meningitis. This evolved into an autoimmune diagnosis, and she's now been without work for a few months. She started reaching out for financial support and looking for any sort of side gig she could get. Then, August 2024, she claims she had a stroke. Dave claims he wasn't there during the time of her stroke, but has been 100% on her side. Because, of course, your wife just told you she had a stroke after other health issues. They both seem very uneducated about the medical system on this level of situation. I've tried to ask more questions about how this went down in full detail, but he keeps avoiding, probably embarrassed that he doesn't have the answers because he wasn't there for her during this traumatic time. September 2024, Dave and Beth post that they're having a benefit dinner to help offset some of Beth's doctor expenses, which also contains a GoFundMe. I was unable to make the dinner, but my partner and I still donated. I ended up hearing that not a lot of folks showed up, but didn't think much of it at the time. Also, during this time, she was randomly sending texts here and there to friends within the friend group that raised a few red flags. Texts like, can you send me $20 to get gas to get home? And can you send me $50 to get my flat fixed? and multiple other versions of this at all hours of the night. These texts went on from July 2024 through April 2025 and are maybe still happening.
I would reach out to the husband. Be like, hey, what's going on? Your
You
wife
guys
has been...
actually need this much
Yeah,
help?
she's been like reaching out, texting me at like 2 a.m. for like $10 because she wants to buy like Celsius. What's going on?
I'm the sober friend in the group, so I feel like most of our friends kept this from me naturally or wanted to make sure it was real before bringing it to someone that wouldn't be able to sit on it. So I'm just now finding out all of this late night text information. I feel this intense pressure that I needed to tell my friends sooner than later what the F is happening or what is circling our friend group, but I'm not sure I have solid proof.
I don't even know what you have proof of. I still don't know what's going on.
Do you want
yet.
this lady's medical records?
I'm just confused what you think is happening.
Basically, most of our friends think she's using and lying about her diagnosis, using the money for hard substances.
Okay, well, if you think that, reach out to her husband and say, hey, we think that she has a substance abuse problem. And also stop sending her money, I guess. Pretty straightforward solutions.
How we
Okay.
got here. Around a month ago, Dave made an unusual Instagram story that said, does anyone know anyone that goes by the name Bear? I texted him 2 days later and asked if everything was okay, and he gave me some weird story about how Beth borrowed money from this guy, and the guy was pestering her, but he was arrested now, so everything was gonna be okay. I think this is where Dave put his foot down and forced her to go back to the doctor, because he's under the impression that this is behavioral changes from the stroke.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
She agreed to go, but her only catch was that she wanted to go alone.
Okay, well, no.
There's an easy answer. You can't.
No. You don't get to make, there's no bartering here.
This conclusion really came to fruition this week when Beth released a new updated evaluation summary from her most recent doctor visit. The document looked like it was created on Canva in a few minutes. No logo from the hospital, no doctor signature, no anything really other than a text on a white page. So we called the hospital to see if they would just tell us if she was in the building on that date.
Now I feel like Bear is like a dealer.
Well, the admin ended up revealing that she couldn't find any record of Beth in their system at all. I can't see where Beth has ever been a patient at this hospital. Isn't that wildly breaking HIPAA? This is exactly what she said. Since talking about this amongst the 4 of us involved in this investigation, I've learned that she's been fired from 2 jobs in the last year for being in the bathroom and unable to be found during her shifts. So now we're in a pickle on how to bring this up to Dave. Insight on Dave. Dave is pretty traditional in his ways of moving through life. He was a chef at a famous restaurant in our downtown area and ended up changing his job to a 9 to 5 in order for her to have insurance for these doctor bills. He works from 9 to 5, then comes home and does the farm work, then likes to go fishing on most weekends. So they've been in a routine where each other exists under the same roof, and they have a roof, and one of them is employed. Therefore, most of the bills are being paid. You know, that straight couple lull that happens to some folks where they accidentally settle in their roles too much. Anyway, I could totally see how this could be happening late at night when he's asleep behind his back because he's constantly busy taking care of things around their lives. I don't have any intel about their financial routines or how they monitor each other's money at this time. I should also say that there's a 100% chance Beth will threaten self-harm when Dave comes to her with this information. And I feel like that adds another layer of how I should bring this up to him. He's a sensitive, loyal as F Scorpio, so this could go either way.
What does this mean?
What do I do?
I don't know. Stop speaking in riddles.
How do I tell him this information without solid proof that she is using? Does that even matter?
Dude, don't go to him and say, I think your wife is using. Go to him and say, hey, we've been getting a lot of strange texts in the middle of the night asking for money, and it doesn't seem like your wife goes to this hospital.
We're really concerned.
We're a little bit concerned about your wife. Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, do you know a Bear?
Do you know a Bear?
Have you checked in on your wife at all lately? Some comment. Comment 1. He's not going to believe you because the admin broke the law by even giving out information. I actually doubt this entire post because you added that in. Nobody with a brain would ever give out this info over the phone.
Yeah.
Someone replies, in a rural area, trust me, this could 100% happen. I've seen some wild nonsense from some of these smaller hospitals. Opie says, my partner called the doctor's office and just stated basically that we were concerned friends with an odd situation of potential fraud, just trying to verify some information about our friend's whereabouts. The admin asked for her name and date of birth. We provided, and she said back she was unable to provide any information regarding the patient.
Okay, well, that actually makes a little bit more sense. Because that's just them being like, we can't tell you.
I will say, however, though, OP gave a direct quote
Yeah.
that said something very different from that.
Well, that's why I was confused because
earlier it was
she
like,
said,
and that's a direct quote from her.
yeah, she said, oh, they said that she never had been to the hospital, when here now she's saying,
We don't have any
we can't
records.
tell you anything about her,
This is wildly
which
different.
is very different.
My partner stated they weren't asking them to break patient confidentiality, awareness of HIPAA laws, and that we were just seeking a confirmation that she was there in this office on the date of the medical form she sent out. And the woman quickly stated, I can't see where this person has ever been a patient at this hospital. To which we said, thank you, that's all we needed. To be honest, we were surprised to get this response too. Comment 2. Ultimately, Dave deserves to know the truth about his wife. Maybe present it in person at a coffee shop or something. Try to help him figure out how to react. It's sad she's doing this. We don't know that she's doing anything.
I'm just really concerned for this woman.
Yeah.
We know, okay, so now we know that she never went to the hospital.
Maybe they got the wrong hospital.
Yeah. I think I think there are so many different ways that this could go.
And there's so many variables that
So many
could just
yeah.
be mistaken.
And you could be so off base, but I think regardless, you just need to express concern, and that's it.
It's sad she's doing this, but yeah, I'd want that info off my shoulders. The other way to look at it is it's none of your business, but I personally always want to know the truth. Comment 3. You could try curiosity. Try, hey man, with how much money Beth has needed from friends, the medical bills to insurance must be outrageous. Or, hey, when you submit medical bills to insurance for Beth, is all of it covered? How much have you guys had to pay out of pocket? It must be a huge amount. Oh my god, that's the end of that!
That's the end of the story?
That's the end!
What?
But not the end for you guys, because we have full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime.
I refuse to give my brother's mom money because I'm sure where it would go.
Yeah, I'm sure it would go to the wrong place.
And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Excuse me, if you're here, sound off, and we have follow-up questions, or we will.
Yes.
And trigger warning, this does mention substance use disorder. So my 40 brother, 17, lives with his mom, who is not my mom, but my dad's second wife. I'm not a big fan of his mom, but I try to be nice for my brother's sake. I also tried for dad's sake when he was alive. My dad was never in my life growing up. He had serious issues with booze and substances that led to many, many troubles. By the way, this comes from Super Penguin Noodle, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Riley.
And OP says, about 5 to 6 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with liver failure. He needed a new liver, but his doctor required him to completely give up booze before he would put him on the transplant list. My dad tried numerous times to quit, even after the diagnosis, but his wife would get upset because she wanted to drink and it wasn't fair that she couldn't.
Oh, bye-bye.
That's
Oh,
insane.
no.
That's
No.
insane.
Even to get on the transplant list, she's like,
But what are we gonna do? I want to drink box
like,
wine.
Hey, listen. This might unalive me, dude. And you are upset because you don't want to drink? You don't want to not drink? Dude,
ugh.
my dad passed away a little over 4 years ago. My little brother was there in the room with dad when he passed away. I know this was difficult for my brother. About 6 months after dad passed away, I went to visit them for Christmas. I called on the way and told them that I was coming. When we got there, I heard her say while I was at the door, "Your sister's here, clean up." I rolled my eyes and gave my husband a look. He knew that I was already ready to go, but didn't want to be rude. We stayed a few minutes, but the house seemed disorganized and chaotic. Fast forward about a year ago, my brother's mom had him call me to see if they could borrow some money until they got his benefits from my dad, money from the state. I think it was for a payday loan or something. I talked to my dad and said to just give the money he needed without him having to pay us back. But I let him know that we might not be able to help next time, so they need to use this to help get them out of a hole and to try not to use payday loans anymore, as they are hard to get out of once you're in them.
I heard nothing from them for almost a year. I decided to go there on Father's Day as it was probably hard for them both. I gave them plenty of notice this time. When we arrived, my brother, who is now 17, seemed unwell. My husband noticed this too without me mentioning it, so it wasn't just me seeing it. My little brother was having trouble at school and there were some concerns, so his mom decided to homeschool him when he was 16. He went to work, but ended up getting let go for attendance issues. Last week, his mom sent me a string of confusing messages telling me that my brother is anorexic and not doing well. Oh, wow. It did not make sense, so I asked what she was talking about. She went on and still didn't make sense. She ended a long message about how I don't have to care about her son, which contained no punctuation with the word respect. It didn't make sense in the context of what she was saying, so I don't know if it was a mistake or if she was saying that I don't have to care about her son, but I will show her respect. She is less than 10 years older than me and was married to my dad for less than 5 years. Not part of my childhood at all. So had she said that I needed to show her respect, it would have been a problem for me. Still trying to not jump to conclusions, I asked if she was using speech to text, thinking that maybe I was misunderstanding. She is disabled and has trouble communicating at times. She went on about how she's not going to message me anymore, just thought that I would want to know that my brother is very sick and struggling. Trying to figure out what was going on, I finally asked if she had been drinking, as her messages were so incoherent. Just to be clear, I did not call her a bad mom or a heavy drinker. I just asked if she was drinking, trying to figure out if a doctor said that he was seriously ill or if that's where her mind went. She got upset, saying, why would I say something like that when her son is so sick?
There's the guilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that because you're clearly drunk texting me.
Yeah. Like,
so is he really anorexic or are you not feeding him?
Yeah. Ooh. I messaged my little brother and told him that I loved him and that I'm here if he needs anything. Just now, just before midnight, my brother texted me to ask me to help out with some money for food. Now, we are kind of struggling right now, but technically could put a little on a credit card. But here's the thing. My brother's mom is permanently disabled and gets a check every month. Her disability was from birth, so no chance of it being canceled. My brother gets a check every month from the state and will go until he's 18, which is soon. They get food stamps. They live with her dad, who owns his house, so I know that they don't pay rent. They very likely get more money in a month than we do, but they seem to have trouble managing their finances. I feel like we can see where this is going.
Because the drinking problem's expensive.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So maybe you're right. Maybe she's not feeding him then.
Yeah, I think the only solution to this is that you have to just give them groceries yourself, or
rather than money,
or have them get on an app or something where they can like order groceries from wherever they're gonna get it and say you can spend this much money, order the groceries.
Yeah,
and that's that. No cash money.
Absolutely. So I asked my brother if they still get food stamps. He said yes, but they are almost out, as in they still have some left. I don't know how much they have left, when they get more, when they get paid, or any of that. Honestly, I don't know if he's even anorexic or if there are other issues going on. By the way, we live an hour away, so while taking him food is an option, it would not be an easy option. Also, I have kids and we pay child support for my stepson, so we don't just have money to give away. With this situation, I can't just send money in the middle of the night. I told him that I would have to ask my husband. I'm just kind of torn. I have no intentions of handing money over to them directly, but am I the a-hole for not just helping with whatever? There are some comments, but what would you say in this?
Well, I think the groceries app is your friend. The grocery store apps are your friend, depending on where you're at. Exactly what I said about that is really
because
all I have to say.
Right, because delivery can be expensive, but at the same time, it's like if you don't really trust that they'll use the money for food.
Yeah.
Because if they do have food stamps, they should be getting money in from the state, but that could be, spent towards drinking and booze and stuff. Then they should still be able to use the food stamps. So I don't know. We've had stories before where people asked to borrow money for really reasonable things, and then they were just going out and partying with the money.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, that was just the other week.
I need to feed my baby.
Yeah.
My baby needs diapers.
So we're not going out?
Yeah.
I can't imagine lying about your baby needing diapers and then using it to party. That's crazy.
Yeah, she literally heard them on the phone saying,
Crazy.
I'll send the diapers to you. And then they were like, oh, so we're not going out?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
She
But
got mad that she got sent diapers.
we do have some more comments here. So comment number 1 says, I wouldn't give them any money, but you could take a food care package over. You'll soon find out by their reaction to it if they genuinely need food. My younger half-sister was like this years ago. She had a baby in her teens, and I'd get a lot of messages saying that she had no money for food and nappies, etc. I know that she was on benefits because I helped her with paperwork and setting them up. So I decided to stop giving her money and started doing a small food/nappies shop for her. Her response to it told me everything. She screamed and swore at me and said that she needed money to shop for herself and not food handouts. She didn't need food. She wanted money to party. OP responds, that's what I think I'm going to do, but it's an hour each way if there's no traffic, and I won't have time until Tuesday. It's currently 4:30 a.m. on Monday, and I haven't slept even a second all night because I'm so worried about the situation. I have to get up in an hour and a half and then go to work, and then no clue how I'm going to be able to function. I've been laying here racking my brain trying to think of what I can get that can make a difference, but will fit in only 2 bags. So I don't have to make 2 trips to the door in case they hear me and come to the door. I have a feeling that his mom will flip if she sees me there with food. Like, I could totally see her attacking me. Whoa, what?
Ew.
That's not something I would have guessed.
Boo.
Comment number 2 says, OP, I want to add that you should call CPS. He needs help, especially considering the school was ready to call. OP responds to that, I didn't sleep at all last night struggling with this very thing. More than likely, they take forever with the paperwork. They end up showing up after his birthday, nothing is done, but they are made aware of the report. Then they know it's me, and my kids are potentially at risk because she's an unstable substance user that mixes prescription meds for her disability with narcotics and booze. I would absolutely be ending any positive relationship that I could ever have with him in the future. Not that he can get away from his mom. If by chance they get him out in 24 to 48 hours, he goes into the system for a few days, then goes right back to her, and all the same happens. It just sucks all around. Comment number 3 says, definitely do not give them cash because then you might be enabling them. They could use your kindness and cash for their bad habits. And you could use all of your time to listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
All of your time.
All of it.
Give it to us.
Give it to us. Yeah, there is a little bit more to the story, but what do you think she should do in this situation?
I think all you can do is just try to be supportive in what you can, because I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably turn 18 before CPS can do anything.
Right.
And then that resentment would probably get put on you somehow.
Yeah.
And I saw some comments being like, well, why aren't they like taking them in and stuff? And is OP's half brother. And it's like a 23-year age gap or something, because OP's 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like they're not, I mean, yeah, they're relatives, they're related, but they're just really not that close like that.
Yeah,
And it just might not be that good of a, I don't know. I don't think OP would know exactly what they're signing up for with that. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think also too, I mean, OP mentioned that they were kind of, not in the best place financially too, so that might just be difficult for them to do.
Yeah, unless that they're able to like, fully provide for themselves.
Right.
And help with like bills or anything. Which could be a conversation down the line, but I think they should focus on trying to go to school, trying to get a good job, a good career.
Uh-huh.
Make something out of yourself.
Yeah.
Better than your mother wants you to be.
Yeah, so, because I wonder, like, I think part of her confusion of what to do is, like, I want to bring money, but I can't do it for another day. So, in the meantime, like, what am I supposed to do? I feel like if she kind of told them, like, oh, yeah, okay, no problem. Like, I can get you food. I can send food on the app or something like that. Like, say it before you do it. Then they can have a reaction to that first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then you kind of get your answer right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's whenever someone asks me for like money, I'm like, I'll just be like, are you hungry?
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I can get some stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be like, ah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I know what you actually.
Yeah.
I know what you wanted in that moment.
Right.
Because like I can't imagine being without home.
Yeah.
And someone's like, I'll get you food, and being like, no, idiot. That's not what I asked for.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Unless I just wanted de drogas.
The other things. But we do have an update. So I talked to my husband about a lot of stuff this morning, and he told me what we have in the bank. We don't have much extra, but can do a small Walmart order, like you said, Riley, with
Called
the
it.
tip and send it to them. I texted him telling him just this and asking for his address. If he sends me anything other than his address and or a thank you, he won't be getting anything. And that's what I was saying, but that's the end of that story.
I refuse to financially help my friend because they've already drained me.
They're gonna drain all your savings too.
My husband, 58 male, and I, 46 female, have a long history of helping friends and family. We've given people a place to stay, help with bills, and even covered funeral expenses for guild members. My inheritance a few years back allowed me to pay off our debts and have some extra funds to help others when needed. We've given to the point where we're now struggling ourselves. By the way, this comes from Decent Acanthisia 68, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And I'm the third lady. I'm Keon.
And OP says, we're down to our last dollars. I'm skipping meals so my husband can eat before his physically demanding job. And we've been trying to raise a small amount of money for groceries and gas, but we've been met with silence from the same people we helped. Because of this, we made a hard decision. We can no longer help anyone financially. We've had to write off thousands in loans that people haven't repaid. We reached out to family for a little help, but they either ignored us or told us to take out a HELOC, which we can't due to credit issues. This brings me to today. A friend's wife who with her husband already owes us $3,300. Came to me asking for money. I told her I couldn't help because we're literally starving. She then suggested I sell my house and car to give her the money, saying that isn't my problem, you just need to help me out. I was floored. I told her no, explaining that my husband and I needed our vehicles for work. She continued to push, promising to repay me once things settled down, even though she still hasn't repaid the initial loan. When I calmly said no, and that until she repaid all the money she owed, I wasn't able to help her. She called me the useless C word and blocked me. I sent screenshots of the conversation to her husband, who is a close family friend. He was embarrassed and apologized, saying he had no idea she went behind his back. Now things are tense in our group chats. The friend's wife is telling people I'm petty and refusing to help, and that I'm demanding money from them. A different friend even told me I should still donate a few dollars to their cause, despite me explaining our dire situation. When I told him I was skipping meals to feed my husband, he just shrugged and stopped talking to me too. I'm starting to feel like people only value me when I'm useful to them, so am I the a-hole for finally saying no when I have nothing left to give? And would I still be the a-hole if I refuse to help even after I recover in order to protect what I have? Comment 1, these people are not your friends. They're showing you who they are. You're an ATM, not their friend. You need to cut them all off, fix the mess, and plan for your future. OP says, yeah, I figured as much. It's difficult when these were friends of family and we just bought our home here too. Small town, so it's awkward as heck when everyone knows everyone. Thanks though, I will do so moving forward. I just didn't want to feel guilty for saying no to helping anyone anymore and not be noted as the a-hole. Reply, I'd expand on what parent commenter said. I think it's entirely possible much or all of your friend group is actually a collection of people who've latched onto your charity. You say you have a long history of helping friends and family. I suspect many of those friends are only around because of the handouts. Much like how pigeons follow a food truck because the customers drop things. Perhaps many of them only hang around because favors and help come their way. I would suggest, and I know this is hard, but stop all charity works for a while. Don't let people stay with you. Don't feed people. Just focus on yourself. Whatever free time you have, see if you can get a job of your own. I would also point out that if your family refuses to help, perhaps it's because they feel you've given away all your own money and are now asking for theirs. I put myself on the flip side of that coin. I imagine a post by one of your family members. My family member gives away every dime they have, lets people stay at their house all the time, and are overall doormats. Now they're broke and asking me for money. Should I help? The overall Reddit answer would probably be no, because there's no guarantee your money won't go to others or that you'll be paid back first. And I'd also point out that now that you yourself need help, I don't see any of your friends stepping up to help you. That should speak volumes to you. Comment 2 says, when you get your finances in order, I hope you remember how none of them helped you while you were literally starving, and finally stop throwing money away to people who are not your friends at the expense of yourselves. In fact, outright start asking them for money. They will turn you down, but the point is to have those memories so that when you get back on your feet and they start coming back asking for money again, you can flat out say, no, I have to start saving for hard times because all of you refused to help us when we needed, so clearly we can only rely on ourselves. OP says, I am making a notation in my journal, and I'm going to say this because we know that as soon as I get my job and with my husband working within at least 2 to 3 months, we will have carefully restabilized and they will start asking again because suddenly I'm useful to them, rolls eyes. I'm going to use that exact same statement. I won't even apologize for it. Good on you, OP. Good on you.
You've learned.
Yeah, she's learning.
Yeah.
She's getting there.
Yeah.
Comment 3 says, not the a-hole. Cut every single entitled leech off. Why don't they sell their own house? F them. OP says they can't sell their home. They rent.
Even so, OP, that's not what that comment meant.
But I totally get where you're going with that. I'm in the process of setting healthier boundaries and learning to say no without being clowns, but also to not feel guilty and not let people make me feel guilty for saying no. As for the guild on WOW, anyone know
World
what
of
that is?
Warcraft?
That's what I was thinking.
Was it World of Warcraft?
But that doesn't really make sense
It's
to
World
me.
of, I mean, no, you can have guilds on
Yeah,
WoW.
you can have guilds in games.
I know, but I'm just wondering why
They're paying for other people's
yeah,
gaming
that's what I'm
stuff.
wondering. I understand that you can have guilds.
It's probably one of I'm paying for people to be able to play the game with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Probably cosmetics on WoW.
Informed the guild master that I was no longer able to support the guild and have withdrawn. The result was pretty much what I expected. A lot of name calling on the GM side. Yep, I guess it is World of Warcraft. As was the case with my friend's wife. But I feel better at this point, knowing that I'm not the a-hole for saying no because of limitations. Moving forward, I'm going to be more guarded with my resources, and I'm going to place limitations on that. I worked hard for my home and my resources, and I should not be made to feel bad if I choose not to share those resources with those who refuse to pay me back. So much has transpired in the last week. I've been reading everyone's comments, and the same common thread of don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm rang out loud and clear. However, some of these people are my family. I called a family meeting, the entire family. I sat down with them and explained that while I want to be there, being asked to sell my home to help out was an inappropriate response. I also explained that my husband and I are just getting back on our feet financially and will be doing so over the next 5 years and beyond, which means I will no longer be lending money to anyone. My assistance is now limited to researching resources for those that need it. My husband and I set some hard rules and gave them the option to take it or leave it. After the discussion, there was some name-calling and finger-pointing and mentions of past events. When that didn't yield results, the primary culprit, my uncle's wife, was forced to go look into my very empty fridge and freezer as I explained what food was left in the house had to last until my husband's next paycheck. I have never seen color drain that fast from someone's face when she went through all my cabinets and they were bare. She got humbled real fast and apologized for being disrespectful. The family group and the friend group accepted my situation. While none of them can help me financially or pay me back, my husband and I wrote off what was owed to us, and we are working the problem to the best of our ability. I'm sorry.
Don't write off.
I'm sorry.
They just can't pay you back right now.
Do not write it off. Do not write it off.
Oh my god.
This is so frustrating.
Girl, you were there. You had the boundaries.
You literally went, well, now they feel bad. But they're not doing anything about it. They're not giving you any of the money. They can't help. They can't pay you back?
They can't buy you a meal.
Come on. I'm sorry, they can't give you any food? Are they starving too? That's ridiculous. They've nothing about them has changed. They've learned nothing. And you've learned nothing either, cuz you're still helping them by not demanding that they pay you back.
That's crazy because like
It can be in
we've been
parts.
college kids and budget on that too. Like,
Yeah.
even like the smallest like cup noodles.
Yeah.
Like I know it sucks, it's not healthy, but it's something to at least put in your stomach.
Yeah,
Literally.
you can go buy them a
anything.
big thing of cup of noodles,
I mean,
ramen.
like, all of the food drives
Yeah,
I
that
used
too.
to do as a kid. Like, there's beans, there's things that are like cheap that you can give to
Yeah.
people. But
Nothing is crazy.
yeah, no, that's absolutely insane. And OP, you're still helping them.
Yeah.
So start demanding. If they say, "Oh, I don't have $3,000," start saying, "Okay,
Okay,
$10 a week
Yeah,
till you pay it off. We're gonna start a payment plan."
yeah.
My husband started his new job that pays weekly, and I was accepted into a position at a really nice school about 20 minutes from home. It's going to be a long struggle and climb, but we'll be okay eventually. I don't like blocking friends or family without first seeing if they're going to actually act like friends and family or be pricks, and they are at least being understanding. They have taken to making sure we are okay mentally and emotionally while we adjust to the new paradigm in life in our new home. We've been asked to come back to the D&D group, and since that's a free weekly game night as well as Sunday's game night with extra family, things are better. As for my uncle's wife, she got into a world of trouble with her friends and with my uncle. As a favor, I helped them sit down and do a solid budget plan using the information.
Did you budget your money while you were at
Girl, why are you helping people budget?
it? Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
shouldn't be the one helping people.
What is
Unless
going
that
on?
budget is pay OP back every penny we borrowed immediately and buy them food in the meantime.
This is insane.
I get it, you have hobbies, but when you literally have
I
nothing to eat,
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that because it felt like mean, but
but it's the harsh reality of like,
if you're starving,
and you're going to
maybe
D&D.
we need to prioritize working and not 4-hour long game sessions.
You're going to D&D, what she said, 3 nights a week?
Yeah,
3?
I mean that could also be a limitation
Or
of
is
her
it 3
job.
hours a
Maybe
night?
there's no
Or
more
3
hours
3 hours a
offered.
week?
No, it's just a free weekly game night.
Okay. But even then,
No, but like I do understand that she I do think it is important to have a stress relief, like something that is free. I get that. So I don't want to say like that is
It does sound though like she
terrible.
was working for a school, so there might not be an overtime opportunity with that.
Well, she said that she was going to start looking for a job though.
I thought she got one. She got one there's a new school starting up the street.
I missed that part.
I
But-
could be wrong. I mean, there's always the option to
Yeah.
try to pick up another job kind of thing, but I
Yeah.
could understand like a nighttime gig being hard to find.
just, yeah.
But yes, don't go paying for more subscriptions for things.
That's
Stick
true.
with the
yeah,
free ones.
it's the budget. We said it before, and I know OP's working on it, but it's like,
Yeah.
OP, come on.
As for my uncle's wife, she got into a world of trouble with her friends and with my uncle. As a favor, I helped them sit down and do a solid budget plan using the information. My uncle also accepted a position at the same school, so we'll be working together with our mutual friend. By the way, you can be our mutual friend if you listen to full episode stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there's a little bit left. The stress of the situation is there, just much less of it. My husband and I managed to pay down some of the debt, and we are about $10,000 away from wiping it out. While our credit kind of tanked a little, it's nothing we can't get back with time. Thanks to everyone, maybe now we can get on to the business of living. I'm not sure how schools pay their staff here, so I won't get paid until the 25th of September, possibly October. As advised by someone else, I did go and update my Cash App account, so I have that going for me. And that's the end of that story, but
Wow.
I do unfortunately think that you might have to get a second job.
Yeah.
If you're starving?
Yeah. If
And
it's
you're not
really
gonna
to
get
that
paid for,
point
like,
and you are
2 months?
teaching from like hopefully maybe not too late in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My nephew turned my home into a free hotel, and I've had enough.
What is this? Hotel for dogs?
My nephew, 20 male, who I've dearly loved forever, brought his new girlfriend, 18 female, to meet us and asked if they could stay over. I said, sure. We have 2 very comfy sofas, and came down the next morning to find them both entwined on the one sofa.
Whoa, pretty risque.
Pretty risque. This does come from user Diligent Ad 3864. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice in a goofy manner. But we don't have all the answers. We're not omniscient. So we only know what we would do. And let us know what you would do in those sweet, sweet comments. This wouldn't bother most people. But we're hardcore Christians and don't believe spicy sleep before marriage is a good idea. And something we are trying to instill in our own children, ages 14, 12, 9, and 6. Still, they're not Christian, so we chose to ignore it and explain to our kids that we can't enforce our beliefs on others. This happens a few times over the next fortnight. Nephew then asked if I get a caravan, could I park it on your drive so we can live there?
Whoa, this is a big step up.
I'm also so curious, like, entwined is such a fascinating verb, because I'm like, well, where do we...
I think they were just cuddling.
That's kind of my vibe as well. I mean,
No
I don't know. I
cuddling
wasn't
before
there. I was not
marriage.
on that couch.
Yeah,
but...
we don't know how they were entwined.
Oh, have you now?
That's interesting.
Oh, have you now?
That's interesting. I thought this was kind of a one-night thing.
Yeah. I also love I've been thinking
Yeah.
about moving in.
I've been thinking about moving in. I hope that you're thinking about
the same thing.
that too.
Nephew says, yeah, it makes sense. I'm here all the time anyways. Now they're both here most nights, no longer bothering to ask. One day, I come home from food shopping at 5 p.m. to find them practically dry humping on the sofa, her underneath, legs wrapped around him, sucking on his neck while he's smooching on hers. My 4 kids are in the room on various screens and playing with toys.
I'm sorry, that's crazy for them to be like,
how
I'm
old are
playing
these kids?
games. They're like 4, 9, and 12.
14,
Or
12,
14.
9,
Oh.
and 6.
Okay, still.
Oi, can we stop with the overtly spicy related displays in front of my kids, please? Nephew lifts his head and says, what? We're cuddling. I retort, yeah, horizontally. They stare at each other deadpan like I'm being unreasonable. I turn into a comedian. I barely kiss hubby in front of our kids, so this horizontal canoodling is a bit much, waving my hands dramatically and laughing. They both get up and sit side by side holding hands. I later chat with them and explain our values and state that we're trying to raise our kids with what we believe is right. We don't particularly want to store up future problems with our own kids when they're older, asking why their own girlfriends, boyfriends can't stay when we let nephew and girlfriend. To give credit, they take this on board. However, we now come down most mornings to the sofa cushions all on the floor where they've made themselves a double bed. Girlfriend doesn't work, so she's here constantly, while nephew leaves for work at 6 a.m. and gets back around 5 p.m. Girlfriend likes to binge series on Netflix, munching on crisps. They are British.
They're British.
They're British.
They're British.
Everything she watches is 15 rated while my kids are in the living room. They know we don't swear, and we've asked them often to curb the very heavy language that they use. Nephew is a hothead like his dad, and his favorite word is the F word since he hit 18. Nephew then tells me that his dad has asked him to move his stuff out since he hasn't paid him rent the whole time he's been staying most nights at mine. Nephew drives a pretty fast car, no seatbelt because, quote, they're uncomfortable. And nephew is trying to break his family's record of 125 miles per hour. His car has lowered springs and he realizes the wheels are being eaten into by the rims, but can't afford to fix it just yet. He borrows our old banger to get to work. 2 weeks later, nephew's telling me he's going to give me some money towards food while he's here. After another 2 weeks, he offers me 50. He already owed me 30. So I say, with the $30 you owe me, is that 80 pounds then? His face drops, but he rallies quickly and says, yeah, sure. Bearing in mind, I'm on disability, we have 4 kids, and my husband earns just over minimum wage. So we're not that well off and pretty much live hand to mouth. I order food in bulk and order treats and things on Amazon, subscribe, and save to save money where we can. I buy cans of soda to save money when we go to the cinema. I also buy booze cheaply at Aldi ahead of when I need it. Nephew likes to treat himself with these by taking first, then asking, you don't mind if I... Well, yes, actually, I do now, where it wasn't so much a problem when you were only visiting. I've also started saying, buy your own munch, whenever my kids are eating sweets or crisps, or whenever we're sharing something, and he pipes up with, ooh, what you got? This happens a lot. I've also begun to state, dude, you eat way more than I do. And there's 6 of us to live off that money. I also noticed empty adult soda bottles in the car, including the driver's door, ooh, and pull him up on that, saying I'm not impressed and it's pretty disrespectful to borrow my car and drink and drive. He gets sheepish and apologizes. Then nephew calls one day to ask what we need to keep from the car he's borrowed, since it's being towed by the police who have caught him speeding in the car with no insurance. There's me thinking he's switched his insurance over to our car since he was warned we had no insurance on it as we weren't driving it currently. It was on our drive tax though. Nope. He tried to blag that he thought he was covered under a third party, but obviously they weren't born yesterday. Our car gets towed. That sucks. And he says, sorry, it's going to cost you 190 pounds to get it back out. And that increases to 20 pounds per day. So you'll need to do it soon. Thankfully, I was able to remind him that I'd said to him when he first borrowed it, you get caught doing anything illegal in it, it's on you, mate. And his face fell. We borrowed the 190 pounds and got the car back. I also bought the spark plug that had been damaged from a new oil leak, which he fitted and got it back on the road. We had to pay for a new insurance contract on this car to be able to get the police to release it. Last week, our own car had to be towed to the garage when the brakes failed. I call him to ask what time he's back and say, gonna need our car back. It's in the garage and I need to get a food shop done. He replies, well, that's not going to work given the state that it's in. I think and say, yeah, I've seen the state of it, but I can push the rubbish to one side as I only need the driver's seat. Don't need to take anyone with me. He replies, I've just had to drive it into a ditch to avoid hitting some idiot driving like a twat. I ask what the damage is. He replies, the front is gone. The driver's side wing mirror is hanging by its wire smashed. There's no headlights on the left side. He says, I've managed to find someone with a tow bar because it wasn't moving. I said, well, you're a third party. You can claim on the insurance. And he says, no, because I avoided hitting him because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt and didn't want to go through the windscreen. So I drove into the ditch on purpose and he's driven off. So you've written my car off because you chose not to wear a seatbelt. And he says, yeah, basically. He manages to drive it back to mine, and it's not driving terribly because I drive it 2 minutes around the corner to grab the food I need. This is now 9 p.m. When I get back, he says, I'm still taking it to work in the morning because I've got no choice, hoping at that time in the morning there won't be many coppers about. He then gets back around 5 p.m., so he takes it to work in the morning.
At this point, like, yeah, he's an a-hole and he's at fault here, but, like, you're a little bit at fault. Like, if so... Fool me once, you know?
We're at fool me thrice territory.
We're at fool me, like,
fool me
fifth.
Yeah.
Fool for fifth.
He then gets back around 5 p.m. and states, had to limp the car home. It's really not doing well. I'm sure it's not doing
I
well.
imagine it wouldn't be.
I get in it to pop to the supermarket for stuff I couldn't get the day before, and it won't even turn over. We try to jumpstart it, but it's not playing ball. Car has passed away. He says you can get about 250 or 300 pounds for it from the scrapyard. I'll call them tomorrow. Oh yeah, a couple of weeks before, he'd asked about scrapping it when it inevitably passed away, and then said, I'll need to use that dosh to get my car back on the road so I can still get to work. My face. I can't even describe the look I gave him. He looks a bit sheepish, and I ask, well, how much do you think it'll cost to get yours sorted? And he says, gotta sort the tires, so probably around 200 pounds. So now here we are, a 4-car family, and none of them currently working. He duly calls the breaker's yard, and when I ask him how they were paying me, he says they're paying it into my account. He'd actually managed to fix his tires the week before, and had said I won't be needing to borrow much. So when the breakers collected the car, I call him and ask if they've sent the money yet. He says, nah, it'll be later this afternoon. I say, well, buzz it over to me when it gets there, yeah? And he says, yeah, no problem. Around 4 p.m., I call and say, have they sent you the dosh yet? His reply, yeah. I say, well, send it over to me then, because I need to do a supermarket delivery since I can't get there now. And he says, how much do you need? I said, all of it. Well, I've had to use some of it in the car. I ask, how much did you use? And he replies, about 200 pounds. I gasp and yell his name in an incredulous way. He says, well, I did say I'd need to borrow about 200 pounds, and then proceeded to tell me he spent about 500 pounds that week trying to get it sorted, presuming, I imagine, that I'll feel sorry for him. I reminded him of what he'd said previously about having had the tires done, significantly reducing the amount he'd need to borrow. He said, oh yeah, sorry. I demand he sends the remaining $40, 40 pounds over, and tell him I'll borrow the rest from my sister. I didn't mention at this point that we're also going to be spending 500 pounds fixing our other car. This was 5 nights ago. Our car is still in the garage, and there's a crack in some pipe that needs replacing. It's going to cost us 500 pounds, which I've managed to hold back since we've been paid hubby's monthly salary, but it's left us understandably tight this month, what with hubby needing to use public transportation to work too. Thankfully, he works 24 to 48 hour shifts, which usually saves us petrol since he's only driving there and back once or twice a week. We've given the top bunk to the nephew, and the 9 and 6-year-old are top entailing in my daughter's single room. So all
No.
3 older boys are sharing together.
No.
This is again where I think you're exactly right. And now I will
Yeah.
even go so far as like, again, I'm trying to be sympathetic to OP,
Yeah.
but like, that's not fair to your kids.
No, it's not fair to your kids. Your kids, one, you said you're trying to raise them in a certain way, and already you are effectively not at fault, but like you are responsible for them not being raised that way when he's
Yeah.
around, influencing them in another way. And then also you are making them share much smaller quarters because the nephew gets to stay and take advantage and eat the food that, more than inconveniences the whole family.
Since nephew declared that the younger lads can have the sofas so they can share the bed, we've had to have another chat about our values, which began with the line, "Absolutely not, you're having a laugh." Since then, they've been staying weekends at her dad. They still expect to be fed when they arrive here with no warning, as he generally doesn't sleep here more than 3 or 4 nights a week. Last night, I didn't cook enough shepherd's pie as we didn't have enough potatoes or meat, 454 grams in the portion of lamb mince. I've managed to make it stretch by finding a few older potatoes in the pantry, making a new batch of Macs, and stretch the meat sauce by adding another carrot stick of celery and putting more water in and some gravy granules. I had to make this extra mash while eating mine because they'd disappeared at 6 p.m. when I was cooking, so I didn't actually know they'd be eating with us. When they arrived back and declared they were starving, I had to try and make it stretch for the 7 of us. I think I did pretty well. They even had leftovers, which I was able to give to the dog. I asked last night when he gets paid, and he says, "Friday, why?" I reply, "Because we're skint, mate, and you owe us quite a lot." He goes, "Oh yeah, the 200 pounds. And I said, "And the rest you've had over the last couple of weeks." And I had to literally go through my bank account on my phone to add up the totals. He's conveniently forgotten the small bits he's borrowed, which totals 238 pounds, which does not include the 190 for the impound fee from a few weeks before. He keeps forgetting about that too, since I told him I'd borrowed it from my sister. He thinks he owes her, even though I've paid her back. I'm getting seriously fed up. My sister arrived unannounced on Thursday and offered them her house to live in.
Yeah, honestly, please.
Yeah, since she's paying rent on it, but living with her man in his place mostly, and they're buying another house together. The girlfriend has jumped at the offer, as it'll cost them just under £1,000 a month, including council tax and bills, which is a freaking steal for a 2-bedroom house in that area. He's complaining about how much it's going to cost him, even though he earns 20 to 25 pounds per hour. But I've reminded him what he should be paying for that bargain. So they'll be moving out in a couple of weeks.
Thank goodness.
I cannot wait because we have no savings left, and not having a living room is causing a few issues.
By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, and search joking story time.
I feel like a right mug, but he declared to me when we got back in touch that he always pays his debts back. He owes me close to 500 pounds now. He wrote my car off and is paying and contributing nothing apart from the 50 pounds he gave me 2 weeks ago. I don't know how to even broach the subject, to be honest, but I need him to contribute from this week going forward since all our money is going on getting our car fixed before the 17th. My dad is coming from Australia to see us all and has booked a cottage for us to stay in Scotland and will be needing to drive 10 hours to get there. We have to use our car as it's a 7-seater and we're going for 1 week. We can't afford to hire one, plus there's 6 of us. Any advice appreciated. Oh my god, that's the update.
My brother stole my mother's inheritance, but I'm the one who took the blame.
Ooh, you took the fall for that? Sorry.
I read it. I, 26 male, recently found out my older brother, 29 male, stole money out of a safe at my parents' house that was filled with money my mother inherited from my late grandfather. Let me try to set the scene. By the way, this comes from user NormalStills747, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you a little good advice, goofily, because we don't have all the answers. So if you would do something different than what we would do, let us know in the comments. My parents have pretty much always been struggling financially, but always made sure that me and my 2 brothers had everything we needed. At my grandfather's Metallica bed, he told my mother about the inheritance money and that he wanted her to buy a house with the money he left her. My grandfather was not wealthy by any means, but he wanted to help my mother. For legal reasons, I cannot really explain how she got the money in cash in a safe at our house. The only people who knew about this were me, my parents, my brothers, and 3 older family members from my dad's side. My brother has a gambling problem and has for quite some time, but he kept quitting and keeping all of his debt a secret. In September 2024, my parents' anniversary, my parents were about to leave for the holiday. My mother wanted to take some money out of the safe just in case of an emergency. When she checked the safe, she saw that $42K out of the $45K was gone, leaving her only with $3,000, the exact amount my parents had to pay in taxes in 2 months. My mother, 52 female, was hysterical. She kept screaming and blaming everyone. The fact that only $3,000 was left was a big indicator that it had to be someone who was home often, which meant me, my father, 51 male, or one of my brothers. I was unable to calm her down for the first time in my life. I looked into the eyes of my brothers, and even though I sensed some doubt looking at my older brother, I classified it as shock and swept it under the rug. I knew this altercation had the possibility of breaking my family apart, so I promised both my brothers that I would never suspect them in the hope that we could keep our family dynamic intact. My parents were really unpredictable at this time, so I needed at least some insurance. I swore to my parents that I did not do it. I did not do this. I'm in my final year of law school and work every weekend and holidays to pay for everything myself since my parents can't afford it. If I had that kind of money on the side, I wouldn't be overworking myself anyway, but that was not a good enough excuse because I kept being a suspect. My father had a really weird way of going about this whole thing. The first 2 weeks, he was really calm and assumed the money was stolen by someone outside of our household. However, after those 2 weeks, he snapped. I was basically living in the same house as a tyrant. No more talking at dinner. He did not want to drive me to the train station, and many other things. I stay in a student home near my university during the week and go back on weekends to see my family and also for my student job, which is in my hometown. He thought going about it this way would cause guilt in the one who actually did it, but obviously nothing came to light. After staying at home for over a week, I had enough and simply packed my suitcase and texted my older brother to ask if he could drive me to the train station. He recently moved into his house with his girlfriend, so he lives about 15 minutes away. I talked to him about everything that happened and that I would not be coming back if my parents wouldn't get their act together. He went back home to my parents and told them he thought I was acting very suspicious and that I was probably the one who did it, which he obviously did not tell me. That week, I received multiple messages from both of my parents, but my dad's messages stung the most. They were along the lines of, I know guilt is eating you up alive on the inside. Just admit it so we can move on from this. I denied the accusations and told him I was not coming home until he calmed down. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm back at home and everyone's sitting at the dinner table. We start talking about that stolen money. I was so fed up with it that I took the initiative and told them about how this is ruining our family dynamic and that we should be putting this to rest for now. Otherwise, we're all going to suffer. My older brother dared to say the following. I have to be honest. I do think that you're the most suspicious out of all of us. You're at your student home doing God knows what, and you have asked me for money before. One time, $20, but okay. I didn't want to believe what I was hearing, but immediately countered with, well, you're the one that bought a house and is still renovating it and had a gambling problem in the past, so I would say you would be more likely to feel entitled to that kind of money. I managed to divert the conversation away from accusing each other and finally convinced my parents to calm down and wait it out. During the past year, family members who knew about it turned on me and started addressing me and my brothers as thieves. And my parents took the keys of my student home and went to look for the money while I was at my student job without my knowledge. This guy, the oldest brother, bought a freaking house and has a gambling problem.
He's like barely hiding it. Like it's a brand new house, shiny renovations, new things, and everyone's like, it can't be him.
Dude, I mean, honestly, it's probably gone. Mr. Gamblerooski over here probably was like, yeah, no, I put $42,000 on red and lost it immediately. My plan was to take all that money, double it immediately at the casino, and then bring it back, and then I lost it. I lost it day one, hour one. I lost all that money.
But they also went to OP's like student dorm, whatever, and they're like, it's just gonna be sitting there.
Yeah,
gonna be
it's just
sitting in
gonna
the room.
be. I'm gonna open up the closet, and it's gonna be
It
like
just
the
falls
Helga
out.
from Hey Arnold, like behind the clothes. You just have a stack of
Or
42K.
Opie's just sleeping on the money. Like, oh, it's a money bed. Like, come on.
Money. Money. I gotta be clear about one thing. I've always had a great bond with my mother, the kind of bond where you can tell what the other is thinking without saying a word. So finding out about this and the fact that she was actually suspecting me was very hard news for me to bear. Every time I went home during the weekends, my mom started pleading for me to tell her I did it. And afterwards, she kept saying she did the same thing with my brothers. It was not a very nice vibe after a week of classes every single week. The tensions eased somewhat over the next couple of months, but my mom always kept talking to me about how she was still sleeping badly and couldn't visit my grandfather's grave because she felt guilty for losing the money. Cut to May 2025, last month. I was talking to Mom about job offers that I was getting and salaries included in these offers, and suddenly she's talking to me about how this month had been kind of rough since this was the second month in a row my older brother had asked for money. $1,000 a month, which is a lot. He has a steady job as an electrician, so I was very confused about why he'd be needing this amount of money from my parents. So how did I find out he did it? The same night, I remembered him giving me his Netflix login. I thought to myself, what are the odds he uses the same password for his email address? Pretty high, apparently. When I opened his regular mailbox, I saw emails from over 20 different gambling websites and confirmations for money transfers. The exact days my mom sent him money for the exact amount she sent him. It was sad knowing he relapsed again, but this didn't prove anything related to the money. Then I remembered that he had a second mailbox for all his online trading stuff. And guess what? Same password again. I went back to the period where the money could have possibly been taken and found evidence that he did it. Emails from the bank asking him about $38,000 in cash that he had been putting on his account in less than 3 months. He told them it was a gift from family members for his home renovations, and the bank left him alone. It was about 3 a.m. when I found out, and I immediately went to my parents' room and woke up my mother. I told her everything, and she was relieved that she at least knew where the money went.
Did you get proof? That's the biggest thing. You can't be like, use my word. Did you bring the mail? Did you take photos? I know it's illegal to do that stuff, but at this point, for the sanity of everybody to like get the facts straight, because oh boy, not great.
Dude, I agree, Ronan Q. Ronan Q just goes, yo, this family's slow AF. It's like, yeah, no one wanted to suspect, maybe the older brother with the gambling problem who's trying to say that it's clearly like that it's the younger sibling who's just going to school.
I got to give it to him for trying. Again, it's just like, he's like, just admit it. You did it. Like, you're going to school. How dare you? I bought a brand new house, but that's my money. But you're going to school. Just admit you did it. Come on. I guarantee you for like half a second, Opie's like, did I do it?
The day after, we already told my father and younger brother and decided to confront him in the evening after dinner. I made sure to print out the evidence so we could use it during our confrontation with him. When we did, his face went pale. He didn't utter a single word for about an hour and simply kept his gaze fixated on his glass of water. He didn't even apologize or express any type of remorse. He had gambling debt of $14,000 and tried to use that money on online casinos to win this amount. He said he would have returned the money later. He didn't make a single cent and lost everything. So now he still has his debt of $14,000. The only thing he said to me was, thank you for finding out. I would have never been able to admit it. This admission left a nasty feeling in my stomach. I can assure you I did not do all that just to do him a favor. I left for my exam preparation shortly after and blocked him everywhere since I didn't want to see or hear from him for a while. But you can always hear from us by listening to full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
Okay.
And you don't have to, there's no gambling there. There is always going to be more for you to listen to. There's like almost 3 months worth of stories. We're approaching the 3-month mark. Keon.
Dakota.
What do we do? What do we do with this brother?
We just call him a thiever.
I mean, how are we giving him any money, dude? How are we giving this guy a single cent?
This is where I look at my parents and go, are we blind?
It's kind of your fault. You've enabled this behavior for so long.
The fact that the mom, I think someone brought it up in the comments too. They're like, the mom was relieved. He's like, oh, thank goodness. We know where the money went. When all this time was like, it was in your face. This was so explicitly in your face, and you guys you didn't believe me.
Yeah, you know what?
You thought it was me. You went to my own dorm to check, scan it out when I wasn't even there to see if I had the money. This is like, I would just look at my parents and be like, I have no hope for you two. That's crazy.
Also, where are the consequences for this guy? Where are his consequences?
Oh, Dakota, you don't understand. The consequences, he's already $14K in debt.
Well, I think the biggest consequence should be you no longer have access to your bank account. All of your money goes through me first as your parent. We're setting this up unconditionally. You either have us running your bank accounts and giving you like a stipend from it, or like you're never getting a single dollar from us of support ever again, because you're just gonna throw it away. You stole all that money. You could have just used half of it to, a little less than half of it to just pay off your debt.
Nah, he was chasing the dragon, bro.
You used all of the money to gamble, lost all of it, and still had $14,000 of debt. You cannot be trusted with money anymore. Let's finish this. During my exams, I kept in touch with my mom and found out she had been paying for his therapy, and she is driving him there herself every week. My family seems to have moved on. They went to the movies together, to restaurants, and the WhatsApp family group chat seems to be more lively than ever. I'm dreading going home. My older brother not only used me as a scapegoat to buy himself time, which were his exact words, but he also made my life miserable the past year, as I explained above. I told my parents I need time to think about the whole situation and that I don't want them to force me to forgive him. The fact that my parents haven't apologized for suspecting me and going to my student home to search everything also plays on my mind. Am I overreacting? And that's the end of the story. No!
I'm reacting for you. Again, that's ridiculous that they're not even owning up to it. They're like, see, this is a good lesson for both of you. Like, what? I did nothing. Your parents have a favorite.
My wife demands my money in exchange of taking care of me.
How about no?
I, 26 male, am separated from my 23-year-old female wife. Let's call her Honey. Before I can get to the money bit, I want to fairly give a backstory. By the way, this comes from user trying not to burden. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit where this story was submitted. I'm Dakota. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers. We just know what we do. So if you do something else, let us know in the comments. And OP says, we've been married for 2 years. For starters, I'm a disabled veteran. I've been in constant pain since my injury 5 years ago. When I left the service, I got connected to the VA and they gave me a 50% rating. I have had multiple surgeries and my condition has worsened. I am so sorry, OP. That is very hard.
Yeah.
After a lot of rehab, I finally got to the point I was able to move around somewhat, still in pain. I ended up in a program that helped me get back to working a full-time job. That's when I met Honey. She was funny, I found her attractive, and we kind of just hit it off. We got married way too early, but she was in the military, and I was about to be done with the program and not have a place to stay anymore, so we decided to get married and get a place together. Things were good for about 4 months. I used to play World of Warcraft. I was in the middle of a raid one day. She came home with groceries and was hollering from the door for me to come help. I played tank, so if I lost, we all lost. I told her, I'm coming,
Thanks.
Just give me a minute, and she screamed, I need you now! So I thought she was in trouble. I ran out there, and she's just standing in the kitchen. Wow, if I was really in danger, you would have just let me be attacked. And that was the first instance of the test stuff.
Yeah, that's icky. I don't like that.
A few months later, a government job I applied for selected me. I was so excited. It was decent pay, and a month later, I got it.
Nice.
That night, I got home, I told her, and I was so happy, but she was the opposite. At
Not
this
nice.
time, she has been paying the bills while I've been doing half-time volunteer at the VA. She enjoyed being the breadwinner. It took a long fight, but I finally found out that she didn't want me working. She just wanted me to depend on her and travel wherever her career takes her. And this is the moment where I would probably seek an annulment or a divorce.
Yeah, because this isn't a relationship that's like a partnership.
You married too fast. You married for partially so that you could move in together, I guess.
Yeah.
And now that you have that job that gives you decent pay and you can probably find a different place to live, I would immediately get out of this.
Yeah.
Because that's a full admission that she's like, I don't want you to be your own person. I want you to be a thing that relies on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird power play. She had this notion that I should be a stay-at-home dad for the kids we were supposed to have later. I was shocked. Fast forward 6 months, I'm making decent money. Our neighbors do substances, and we feel unsafe living there due to gang presence. Half the days, we would walk out of our apartment and get a contact buzz. We both work for the government, and that's a really bad look. After the apartment security door was broken and someone vandalized the interior, I said enough is enough and we're leaving. I had to pay to break our contract, and I bought a home. At the time, I tried to see if she wanted to co-sign, and she said no. This is when I should have said something's up. We move into our new home, and one day she gets a notice from the military. She's gained too much weight, and she's failed tape. I took a look in the mirror, and we had let ourselves go. I tried to motivate her to work out with me, but she didn't care for that.
It just feels like you guys are in a relationship that doesn't push each other to better yourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it gets to that point, it's, and you also, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a healthy relationship.
It really doesn't. At this time, I was also taking depression medication that really shot my libido. Honey has drive. That girl's like the Energizer Bunny. Me not being able to match her really hurt us. I told her I would be willing to do anything to make up for it. We can figure it out. Still, though, it drifted off. She said she wasn't really in the mood, but I can hear her taking care of things in the middle of the night. I once asked her if I can help, and she said no and just stopped. That night, I felt so small as a person, as a man, and as a husband. She reassured me the next day it was no worry and we'll figure it out. Honestly, it's just there's more and more reasons to call it my guy.
Yeah.
That's not the big one, I think, is earlier when she was like, no, I'm mad that you're getting a job and being able to provide for yourself, especially as someone who was like a disabled. It's
you guys are just two separate people who don't want to be together.
Yeah. Being that Honey was in the Navy, they have requirements for volunteer time to help with promotions. Recently, she's been doing it so much. For labor events, she expected me to be there despite my back injury. Finally, one day, she just said, since it's such a big deal, just stay home. So she started going by herself and didn't even invite me or let me know half the time. She is never home anymore. This carried on for months. Then one night, she gets a call at 2 a.m. and says she has to go out and just leaves. It was about 3 days before we had time together again, and I asked her why. She said a sailor needed her help.
A sailor needs me.
Mind you, she's not in leadership. She had to go pick up a wasted sailor, and on the way back, they met up with a few others and had breakfast. Then she had to go to work.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor?
I just think it's pretty convenient, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, apparently...
Early in the morning. Okay, yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah, that's what you do. You take him to breakfast, I guess.
Throw him in the brig and then...
I hate to be that guy. She's got the libido problem. Y'all, she's like, nah, I don't want you to even be involved. Then she leaves at 2 a.m. at the drop of a hat.
I'll be a little bit suspicious.
I would think she's doing something with that drunken sailor.
Be a little bit suspicious.
And she got breakfast? During this time, I was losing some weight. She, on the other hand, kept climbing. At this point, I felt like my marriage was pretty much over. So I started focusing on the house, myself, my dogs. She had shared debt. I consolidated it. I traded my car in for a truck. I had given up trying to help her make tape. I had given up expecting her to come home at a reasonable hour. I still loved her, but doing that hurt me. I decided to start spending time with my friends. I rekindled some relationships that took a hit when we got together, only to find out that the reason they stopped talking to me was because Honey said some lies about something I said.
Yeah, she's lying about you to other people. Bye.
Yeah. They kept telling me she's bad. Get away. ASAP. I'm married, though. I don't really believe in divorce unless it's harming someone or adultery. Brother, you're being harmed.
You're being harmed emotionally.
And there might be adultery.
There might be adultery, and also you're being harmed emotionally.
It was as soon as I said that word that my blinders lifted. The lack of attention, the constant being gone, the 2 a.m. calls. I was so focused on building our home that I didn't have anything left for that drama. She came home on a Thursday at 8:30 p.m. and says, I'm going to go see my family this weekend. We lived many states away from her folks. I never even met them. The next morning at 4 a.m., a male sailor came to pick her up to go to the airport by himself. I didn't see or hear from her until she returned Sunday night, dropped off by the same guy. As soon as she walked in, I had flowers waiting for her. I had some balloons. I hugged her and tried to kiss her welcome back. She didn't back away, but she didn't participate either. And my heart sank. I tried to talk to her. She said, not tonight, and we went to bed. It felt like there was a Grand Canyon between us. The next day, she said she wants to separate. I said, why? And she said because she wants to be on her own. More like because she can't deal with the crushing guilt of what she has
cheating on
done.
you. Yeah.
I said, let's try counseling. And she said, I will if we separate. I asked her, please give me a reason. She surprised me with saying, I told you when we first got together that your back issue would be fine because my dad has the same thing. I was wrong. I can't live with someone who is constantly in pain. I'm sorry, it's too much and I'm too young for this. Well, that's quite the switch up from I don't want you to get a job and I just want you to be around.
Yeah. I don't know. That might be partially true. I don't believe it's the full truth.
Well, right. And then also she's been cheating on you.
Yeah, also that.
I relented and she started packing. I asked her if she needed anything and I got a very curt, not from you. Wow. The next day, I saw she cleared out our joint savings account of about $5,000.
No? Joint?
Yeah, that's shared assets. I checked the other accounts in our bill account, and she took half of it, about $7,000. That was money I put in to cover the bills in case of anything happening. For the record, the BAH we got was $1,600. She only gave me $1,000 of it for mortgage, bills, food, etc. And on average, the bills for the house was about $3,500. Every month, she would put $250 in savings. I would put in $750. In the bill fund, all of that was me. A couple months went by, and I tried to work out things with her. Counseling was a waste. She never showed. She told the counselor that work came up. 3 times she failed to show, and they dropped us. I tried to go see her. I couldn't remember what apartment number she was in, and just that it was the first floor. I looked at the buzzer, and only one apartment had no name on it, and I figured that would be hers. I knocked with no answer. I was walking back to my truck through the courtyard, and as I was walking by, I saw her blinds moving. I thought she's home, so I head to the door.
Oh, no.
I wasn't 100% sure I saw what I saw, but there was a dude running in a towel down the hall.
You saw what you saw.
I knocked on the glass. She comes out. I tried to talk to her, and she said, it's over. You need to leave and never come back. I told her, I just can't give up on us, and then I left. Brother, you need to listen to that.
Yeah, you need to give up on it.
You need to
she's given up on you like a long time ago.
Yeah. This is like when the power of belief like becomes really damaging.
Yeah.
Because you believe that there's something left and it's like you're holding on to that belief, but there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
And you need to let go of it. About a week passed by. While at work, the police came into my office.
Oh?
They served me with an order of protection?
Because you went over to her house once?
So she lied. I don't know if is that prosecutable? Because clearly whatever she said about you was untrue.
Yep.
I wasn't to see, talk, or go near her residence. The order claimed that I threatened her. Apparently, I claimed I wouldn't let her go and she will be mine. It stated that I was stalking her at her home. I would randomly show up at all hours, and I only went one time right after work at 5 p.m. There I was in the office reading this, and I felt so gross. These lies are official record now. Last week, my new VA rating came in. A few weeks before our separation, I got a new exam done, and just now it finally came through. It's increase in disability and back pay for the time since I claimed. It was Friday night when I got the email, and I was so happy because her leaving left me gutted for money. I've since made new accounts for all the bills and savings, except one I had to physically go into the location to remove myself from the account. I was also waiting for my direct deposit to change accounts, which is why I had been waiting. I bank with Navy Federal Credit Union, and they had this thing that allows you to see incoming deposits. I saw the money coming, and I know she did too. The money hits the account around 6 a.m. I could barely sleep that night, and I set an alarm for 5 a.m. I wanted to pull that money immediately. Saturday morning, I kept refreshing the page. Finally, 6 a.m. on the dot, bam, money hit. 6 a.m. and 3 seconds, transferred to my other account. I woke up to a slew of messages, emails, and 23 missed calls.
Oh, she just wants that money. Too bad. Too bad. Too slow. Too slow.
So I can't see you or ever talk to you again, but you can just take my money?
Yeah.
She's trash, dude.
Literally do not respond to any of those calls, but keep a log of them and then say, oop, I got a lot of calls from this person who supposedly has an order of protection.
100%. I didn't reply back. I'm not going to violate the order.
Yeah.
How the gist of the complaint is, how dare you take money that is owed to me? I had to deal with your disabled butt for 2 years. Where's my compensation? Half of that is mine. You owe it to me.
You stole all of our savings.
I seem to recall you guys were married. And
yeah, one, you all were married.
And
two, you stole the savings.
Doesn't the vow say in sickness and in health?
Sure
for
does,
better
Dakota,
or for
sure
worse,
does.
for rich or for poor?
She didn't read those parts of the vow.
The calls started out very angry, and then pleading, and then reasoning, and then angry again. Am I the a-hole for not splitting my disability money? Absolutely not.
No. She, again, stole all of your joint account. She stole all the savings in there.
This person deserves $0.00 from
She
me.
left you. She cheated on you. Got an order of protection against you. And then is demanding your money? No.
Yeah. I don't really have an unbiased group of people I can talk to. My friends personally know her and hate her.
Hey.
I think that's the accurate representation. I don't think you have to be worried about that bias. I'm supposed to have a meeting with her and the mediator today for the divorce proceedings. She filed that a while ago, and with the order in place, they can push it up to now. There is an update. We're just going to dive right into it. We all know you're not an a-hole, and that's your money. So I went to the mediation. I had not spoke to Honey in weeks until this. Sitting in the courthouse on a beach outside of the mediator's office, she sits on one end and I on the other, about 4 feet apart. I looked over to her and was about to say something, but I didn't want to be the first, so I just put my head back down. A moment of silence, and all you hear is clacking of shoes and heels up and down the hall. Then a meek, "I'm sorry," is what I heard. I looked up, expecting to see another person, but no, it's Honey looking at me with watery eyes. I said, "What are you sorry for?" She said, "Everything," and I just shrugged. Thank the Lord. Yeah, of course she's sorry now. I'm sure she's realizing...
you spent all that money, probably.
Yeah, all the money's gone, and she's not going to get any of your money ever again.
Yeah.
And
She's feeling pretty awful about that.
You've been, I'm sure, losing more weight. You're probably looking great. You've got more money coming in. You've still got the steady job on top of your disability benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's looking great for you right now.
And not so good for her. She's seeing a sailor.
Yeah, and I'm sure the sailor has moved on to a nicer port.
Yeah, Brandy is not the sea.
I asked her why she lied about me in the order. She said she didn't even write it. The clerk in the office did. That's a lie.
Liar.
That's a lie. That is a lie.
Liar.
She said the clerk said it had to have a certain trigger word to push it through. I was stunned. My blood started to run hot. Yeah, but as soon as the clerk said that, she could go, "Oh, well."
Oh, well, that's not true.
See,
so I don't
see
wanna...
how, wait, hold on. See how she said the clerk said it had to have this to push it through? And she went, she was the one
who asked
filing the order, bro.
Yeah, the clerk.
Ooh,
the clerk showed up at her door and was like, "Hey, I'm here to help you file protection order." She said, "What?" He said, "I'm like Santa, but for protection orders. I just know that you want one."
I could feel it in your brain. My goodness. Either she's lying to save face, which she wasn't. I later compared the handwriting when I got home, or the system is so corrupt allowing this to happen.
Well,
pretty my God.
It's pretty obvious.
I want to slam my head against a wall. Are you kidding me?
No. OP's saying
he's not saying that it's his ex-wife's fault.
Yes, he is.
No, he's trying to say that.
No, he said it's the handwriting is hers. He was like, either she's lying or the system's so corrupt.
Right. No, he's saying she wasn't lying. The
No.
handwriting's not hers. Listen, either she's lying to save face, parentheses, which she wasn't. I later compared the handwriting when I got home, which, yeah, the clerk probably wrote it. She's the one who went to the clerk.
Oh, you gotta keep reading
to order it.
You can't be. Don't be a dum-dum.
Or the system is so corrupt allowing this to happen. I had not another word to speak for a while. Then she says, well, it was your fault for making me have to do this. My brain felt broken. Huh? Why? And she had the audacity to smirk at me. Then she says, the day that I came over, her ex was visiting and staying at her apartment. He took a week off to come visit since they were such good friends. It was odd, though.
Such good friends. You're talking
It was odd, though. I didn't feel anger. I felt vindicated. I kept questioning my own eyes. It was more of a relief, I guess. I said, it's fine. We're finished anyway, right? She kind of looked sad at that, but then said, sure.
Good.
I said, thanks for being honest. Then she said, I think I need to come clean. Some of the weekend trips I took to see my family, I went to spend the weekend with my
We're
ex.
all shocked.
Whoa,
you cheated?
Stop the presses. And the world stopped turning with this
Wow.
revelation.
Wow.
It was at this point the itty-bitty trust I had for her just shattered. Good. I just felt cold sitting there. I didn't say anything. She asked if I was okay, and I didn't answer her. Finally, the door opens, and the mediator asks us to sit at this table opposite of each other. They asked for identification, then asked, there's no chance of trying to work things out, right? I immediately said, no. Honey looked offended. He said, okay, let's begin. As we started going through each asset line, it was like a rough fight. Only married 2 years. She tried to take my retirement. Then I said, I get hers too, right? He said yes, and Honey dropped it. We finally got to the house that I've been primarily paying for and is in only my name. Well, that don't matter. It was acquired during our marriage. They were discussing how much I would have to pay to buy her out, and I couldn't afford it. They intended to make me sell the home. My mind was racing. Then I remembered, shortly after we married, her family, in order to dodge taxes on a property, put it in their daughter's name. I asked the mediator, excuse me, how about land put in her name from family? He said, absolutely. Well, I told him it's probably about $100K. Oh my Lord, the look on her face. I'm loving this.
This is great. I love that OP's like, and then I remembered, and then I remembered.
Yeah, how about that little chunk of land?
Yeah.
Maybe I get some of that.
You're great, OP. You're doing great.
If she could have thrown daggers, she would have. She started in about how it's her family's money, not hers. I asked if she left my home alone, would I be able to leave that alone? And the mediator agreed. So far, I wasn't doing so bad. Little did I know my truck considered marital assets and all the debt we had. Apparently, she went to visit her family again. She had a shared credit card with $16,000 on it. She maxed it out, bought gifts for everyone back home. And I said, surely that's her debt, right? No, it's split down the middle. I had less of a leg to stand on. I was going to have to sell the truck to pay the difference. Then the mediator proposed an idea. If I take on the whole debt of that card, she leaves my truck alone. I really had to swallow my pride. I ended up walking away with about $40,000 in debt, and she only had 18. I signed the forms for divorce. They're going to go before a judge. I hope to God nothing more comes of this. After our mediation was concluded, we went over to the protection court and signed up to see a judge. We were able to see one within the next 45 minutes. We waited in this hall. The officer found out we had a protection order and treated me like trash, sent me out of the hall around the corner. He said he would come get me when it's our turn. Then left me sitting on a bench in the main hall looking like I'm in timeout. The officer finally gets me. We go into the courtroom. She's already on her spot. I get brought in, and you can just feel there was this air in the room. I did not feel welcome. The judge asks the reason for being here. I stood with my arms behind my back, and Honey says she wants to remove the order of protection. She'll be leaving to California and doesn't feel the need to keep it active. The judge hums and haws, looking over the complaint. And by the way, you'll definitely be saying and ah to all of the full episodes with stories like this that you can listen to on your favorite podcast platform iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to all of the oohs and the ahs. And boy, oh boy, am I oohing and ahhing over this. So now this guy's in court.
Yeah.
And he's got the context of that protective order hanging over the whole thing. So
But they're
he's
trying
just
to get
going to
rid
get
of the protective order.
right. But
Yeah.
because he came in with that, everyone in the court's just going to treat him like.
Absolutely. Which is, sucks.
It's why you should not do false reports against people.
Literally.
And she did that to you. It wasn't the clerk.
Yeah. it was
She
her.
went in and got an order of protection put against you, and she didn't need to. At any point, she could have been like, wait, no, actually, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I realized that this is like totally crazy.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
Didn't do that though.
Yeah, she did not. Since it was quiet, I spoke up stating, Your Honor, the claims in the order were inaccurate in the first, and then he interrupts me, Silence!
Classic judge.
Silence, he yelled. Did I speak to you? No, so don't say another word. He speaks softly to her and states, This is for 2 years. Is he threatening you to drop it? She said, No, I'm just leaving, and I didn't want it to affect his life. And he got mad and yelled at me again. Do you think you can make a mockery of my court? This is a 2-year order of protection, and for 2 years it will stay. Don't bother trying to appeal it. I will slap it down every time. Case dismissed. Get out of my courtroom. What?
This judge sucks.
She went to she said, I'd like it revoked.
He said, nope.
As we left the courtroom, she said, Sorry, I tried. Could you have showed him? Your Honor,
Yeah.
she called me 28 times the other day.
Yeah, nah. The judge goes, no, silence, silence.
And as I went to reply, the officer was right behind me. He just waved, walked away, and went home. So now I look like some bad guy. It's on my record forever that I supposedly did all these terrible things. Whatever, though, I have my home, I have my truck, and I got my dogs. And that is the end of that story.
Dang.
And yeah, honestly,
sue her for defamation.
yeah, I don't know
Get a
what
lawyer
kind
involved.
of I don't know what kind of process you could go through to get
Yeah.
that undone or proven, but like I think really the
Literally
best bet
sue
might
her.
be to just literally exactly what you said. Whatever. I've
Yeah,
got
maybe
the
move
stuff that I
on.
want. It's a
Yeah.
it's a 2-year protection order. You're not going to be around her anymore. She's
Yeah.
moving to California.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Ignore. Yeah.
Just
get her out of your life.
move along.